Hello, land of YouTube. How is everyone? I'm joined here today by Rogue because I drug him out of the Discord and said, "You're doing this with me." What's up, Rogue?
Ceiling. I don't have any dust bunnies as of yet. Oh, no, correction. I do. God damn it! I have to go kill some bunnies later. But,
Are you sure
yeah,
they're not? Are you sure they're not selling cats?
no. These are stringy lines that are going across. I know they're dust bunnies. Ceiling cats would be great at this point. But, yeah, I ordered waffles, I think, and I got pancakes. I don't know. But, yeah. Never take a cop to Denny's because they don't know what they're going to eat or don't remember what they were ordering. But anywho, we're here. You're there. What we do?
Well, so to kind of preface this whole stream off, um, I've seen the whole hashtag or the whole movement of "Stop Killing Games,"
Oh, I
and
seen this movement. I have issues with this movement.
yeah. Now I've seen this and I never really paid any attention to it. Never did anything. The only thing I really noticed from it is like um Thor from Pirate Software,
Yeah, I follow
which
him every now and then. I
yeah,
mean,
same,
mostly his shorts than his actual long streams, but I follow him.
yeah, same here. But it's like I've just noticed it's like he's gotten a lot of hate, lot of hate for this whole deal, and it's like, what in the fuck did he say? It's like he must have said something that's like really off the fucking wrong, off putting. So I sit down and listen to it today,
Uh,
and it's like I don't get it. It is like the most coherent fucking take. Explains everything. Explains the issues with the whole deal. Explains the reason why he's not going to do this, and basically beats on the fucking points that, frankly, Rogue, both you and I have beat on for like the last 5 fucking years.
I probably beating on a drum for a lot longer than that. I've been beating on this drum since way before Gamergate. So it's been a bit of long. I had to change up the drum set and the everything else that goes with it. So yeah, I haven't changed sticks. I have to
Yeah,
change the fucking sticks.
yeah.
But
So I listened to it. It has a part one and part two.
part one,
Um,
part two. I like
yeah,
these.
part one was going over it. Part two is kind of responding to some of the backlash he got from it. And
Okay.
honestly, he ended up getting a considerable amount of backlash, and everyone calling him like a studio shield, or oh
Uh,
well, he's a publisher, so I mean this goes against him, so of course he's gonna be against it.
he's
Blah blah
an
blah blah
indie
blah 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 blah.
publisher. He he
He
he
is
worked for
Blizzard.
Blizzard, and then he got away from Blizzard and worked for Amazon, and he got away from that, and now he's doing his own indie shit. So he's been in the major
Oh,
change.
and don't forget also hacking power plants with the government.
No,
Yeah, that too.
that I get that, but still, he's been in the gaming field for a very long time. Hell, his father helped create WoW,
Yeah, but
so he's
let's
he's been inundated for a long time. So I definitely want to get a chance to hear what he's saying. So let's do that.
yeah, yeah. You haven't got to listen to him. So I've
No,
listened to
like
him. You haven't.
I said, I just briefly go through his shorts. If they're
Yeah.
not in his shorts, I'm not
Now,
paying attention.
yeah, no, this was kind of a long form video. He actually dedicated a video to this.
Okay.
So, um, but before we go into it, too, it's like so I just posted a simple tweet on Twitter, and it's like Thor's like 120% correct on this,
Okay.
on a lot of aspects, because a lot of stuff that this movement Stop Killing Games goes into
Uh-huh.
is stuff that's already against the law in most places. Now, this is being implemented in the EU.
Oh God,
Good luck.
the wokest place on earth. Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. This is being implemented in the EU by someone by the name of Ross. Now, I got given a video too, to go over. I looked at it, skimmed through it. It's like it's 33 minutes. I don't. I'm not watching it. I listened to it, some of it,
All right.
and it really doesn't. He explained some things in it, but I think the major thing is going to be going on what's written down, because he can say and explain away anything he wants,
Pretty much.
but going through what's actually wrote down, I think is the best thing to do, because
I
it's that's going through the system, not what he's saying, and I
I
think there's
concur.
some duplicity in that.
All right.
But I put that out there, and ended up triggering a hell of a shitstorm from a couple different people.
I mean, what else is new?
Yeah, two of them that regularly frequent the channel. Um,
No,
I don't want to. I really don't
don't want
want
to
to throw
ruffle
names out.
feathers. It's fine.
I don't
It's
want to ruffle feathers and stuff like that. But it's like, I get it. I get it. You're looking at emotion that says stop killing games. We're gonna put forth rules and laws to make sure that game companies can't kill off games that we played for a long time. And it's like it looks really good. It looks really, really fucking good. However, what's in it is shit.
I don't know. If we're talking about game companies, they control the IP. For example, Nintendo, they can turn off an IP at whim, which they've done multiple different times. They have control over who actually is able to play said game on the interwebs without, getting strikes down on YouTube or whatever, and who doesn't. Yeah, they're archaic, but they're the greatest example I can go to.
Well, you got Nintendo,
Yeah.
you got Sony,
Well,
and
Sony is a little bit of a different fish, but
yeah,
Sony has a slew of IPs, and their current president, whatever his fucking name is, came out not that long ago saying we don't have any IPs that we can rely on to make major moolah off of it. So we've got to go in the process of making more new IP. And I'm like going, dude, do you not see a back catalog? You have like a shit ton. You have
well,
the
let's just
Dragoon game. It's
Legend of
out.
Dragoon.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you. We should have the Legend of Dragoon 2, or bring it back. Kind of give us a new story based off of that particular IP. We haven't seen it in the fucking Coon's age, but
yeah. We got Jim Max Norwegian. The Norwegians has proved the states can't make games either.
I know this is the problem. This is
Yeah.
where it comes back down to. That's controlled. That state money going into a development, and we got that fucking Dustborn.
Yeah. Now
Anywho,
I'm gonna go through three websites first. Then we're gonna get into Thor's video.
okay.
Let me get into this. See if I can remember how to do this shit.
I mean,
Um,
it's been a while. I mean, I'm surprised you haven't decided to go up with Restream.
I've not set up on Restream. You are. I'm not.
I don't know why. It's not hard. Anyway,
Yeah. Anyway, this is the beginning of it. This is the letter that that started the whole deal to implement this into Parliament. It's like this is a really big deal letter and stuff like that. Yeah, I got to looking for this. And it's like it's not. It's parliamentary bullshit equivalent to a petition for protest. From what I
hang
can
on.
get.
AI garbage. The EU citizens indicated in a request for the commissions to start talking that a problem exists. It is required to be a fairly vague and by design can't include much specific language. See, this is the problem. The EU, like it or not, every citizen there, as a group, has to oblige by universal rules. So you have different organizations coming up with different ideas. It's going to be great for the entirety, the totality of their citizenship, whether
Yeah.
it be
See,
Paris, Norway, or whatever. And whoever has controlling shares has control over where that direction of those laws are going to. And you really want Paris, Norway, to have total control over what the direction is going for on that piece of paper there, if that's what we're referring to.
I would have given it to Zoe Quinn
You
because
you
at least we know what
China,
to expect.
China.
Yeah. Hey, at least we know what to expect if we give it to Zoe Quinn for control.
Fuck yes, fuck yes.
But and that's the thing, and that's what this is. And it's like I'm not gonna try to wait. AI garbage one that gave me this document and stuff like that. But it's like that's the thing. EU Citizens Initiative as request for commissioners to start talking about. Yeah, EU citizens have no fucking rights. They had to go through this bullshit to even be heard. And this
Remember,
isn't. This
hey,
isn't.
hey, give me a second. Remember that in Paris they actually had farmers striking in order to be heard, and that strike lasted for years.
Yeah.
And they still
So
really didn't get hurt.
yeah, and even then, this is just to get the foot in the door and not even really say anything. And I get it. Okay, citizens need to be heard, and so they can go through and you know deal with stuff. The problem is, it's not gonna amount to much, especially in the EU. Even if it gets to the point of making laws, here's what's gonna happen. You're gonna have the same thing happen in 1994 with the video games rating system.
Yeah,
You're
how
gonna
did that
get the
turn out?
yeah, you're gonna get the equivalent to that. It's the same fucking argument that you're gonna get with anti Second Amendment people. Oh, we need more gun laws because people keep getting killed. We
Yeah,
need more laws. We need more rules. We need more laws. Well, enforce the fucking laws on the book right now.
yeah.
There are ways that these gaming companies right now can be taken to the fucking cleaners because of the interpretations and stuff like that with the EULAs and TOS.
Oh fuck
Nobody
me. Okay.
fucking does it.
All right. So I'm looking at the major countries for the EU: Germany, France, Italy, Spain, Poland, Romania, Netherlands, Belgium, Czech, Greece, and the list goes on. So right there, we already have a very woke Germany, a very woke France. We've got Belgium that's pretty woke by itself. Netherlands, fuck it. Get rid of that because they're woke as fuck. Oh, Sweden, woke. Austria, woke. Finland, woke. Denmark, woke. Ireland, pretty woke. Because they put in a woke agenda for their entire parliament. So you really want these motherfuckers to be talking to change gaming in general?
Yeah, and this is what really gets me to question, you know, because I don't know who Ross is, but this just
Well,
looks like
whoever
some sort.
Ross is, he needs to be drowned in a bathtub.
Yeah, because this is not going to help gaming out. This is going to help the people who want to change gaming. This is going to help the people that what Gamergate was against.
Mustache Man, hometown. Yeah, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
Basically, this is Mustache Man level of
yeah.
insanity.
The only thing I can see any kind of good coming from this is gonna be to the Zoe Quinns and Anita Sarkeesians, all the bullshit in gaming. That's what this is going to give them power for.
Yep. Oh, well. That's
No,
what these people want.
it's a noble cause. I see the features and stuff like that that they're getting at, but how do you defeat the Second Amendment? You drown it out in regulation.
Yeah.
How do you defeat games? Well,
Give it regulations. There you go.
there you go.
Well, you
Give
give games regulation, you end up with games like Dustborn.
yeah. Now that's the cover letter for this. Now the actual site, and I went through and I looked at the video to pull up the actual site, and it's not the same as this.
Oh God.
Stop killing games. Now you can't get to the actual site to read the deal on this until you actually sign the petition.
Okay.
So it's a gotcha game.
It feels like it. Yeah.
You
Because
know,
if you have something like that, that's questionable.
you sign up, and this is different than what Pirate Software showed, but it's the same URL link. The URL link got changed, and it's got captured on.
Yeah. No, I'm not. I'm not. No.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it's got changed. It's different from what Pirate Software was changing. You can't get to the actual deal to read it, what they put down, until you actually click on it, and it counts a tally of where you went through and check that.
Apparently,
So red
there's
flag
an
number
actual
one.
a simpler blah 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 from garbage.
Yeah, that's a fake. It's the same URL. That's the problem. Word for word, it got changed after Pirate's video.
That's a fake page. That you could say it's a fake page, but if it's the same URL, then that's the page. That means that they shut that down. I,
Stop.
I I'm looking at it right now. That one there, I've seen it. I pulled that one up. I have that one.
Yeah. See, it goes to this one. But then when you click on that, it takes you to that one. I'm missing a letter.
Nah, you want this one, Sparky. Copy. You know what? I'll just put it in the private paste. There we go.
I went through that a couple different times. What letter am I missing? Stop killing games.
.com and I have the slash ECI.
Oh, you got it. Oh, you're putting in the private on this one. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Give me a second. Give me a second.
did you want to put it in the discourse?
There we go.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing. The one Pi had didn't have the slash ECI on it.
Sexy time with the mustache man sold better. Yeah, I know, better than Dustborn.
That's the thing. It didn't have that in it.
No, and that's basically it. I mean, they have changed.
Now I've got this one, but the actual petition page just changed. So okay.
Has a singular missing an S.
Oh, I was missing an S. Okay. So,
but still, regardless of the factor.
All right, there we go. All right. Well,
I know you had to do was click on. All you had to do was click on the controller would have taken you there.
I retract the statement of it was throwing me a red flag because I was trying to look all this information up.
Hang on, it still throws me a red flag.
Yeah, it still does, but at least it's not different from what. See, it was throwing me a red flag because of what that was. Because it's like, oh, man, that's just giving a fucking tally when you click on it.
Yeah, right, but
this one's a little bit more okay.
All right.
So there's that. Here's the initial details. Just this. I'm not gonna read through all this.
The official government petition has been introduced to prohibit it. The practice of international rendering commercial video games inoperable when support when support ends. Really, we're actually going to go there. So you want this game to so the question I have on that one, are we talking about single player based games or are we talking about multiplayer based games on that
one? All right, so and this is another retarded statement that I was questioning too because they want this unilaterally for all games. It's like that's impossible.
No, no. Sorry, that is literally impossible for the multiplayer level games. Sorry, it's literally impossible. Even the people who've gotten games coming back from like Galaxy's Edge or whatever the Galaxy the Galactic Universe for Star Wars Galactic Universe, it's even that it is kind of private servers that are supporting that for the most part. So unless you are going to be unless you are going to pay for that, not going backwards. All games going forward, not grandfathered.
Grandfathered in. And it's like, okay, it's like, okay, fine. Not going forward, not going backwards, going forward. Okay, fine.
Okay, so
can that be doable? Yes. Can it be doable? Is it gonna happen?
Okay, hold up.
Who's gonna enforce it?
No, hold up. What about a game like Concord that was completely shut down by the prime producer outright? Shut down completely. No copies available. Everything. Remember, if you want to keep that game alive, you have to make sure that you have physical copy of that game. Where is your physical copy of Concord? Right now, you can't purchase a physical copy, even though there's some sitting right on the shelf. They have all been recalled. Every one of them. So if you didn't get that game before, I know it's a woke game, but again, just using that on the basis because that is one of the newer games.
I think I've been hearing reports that even if you have the game on the Steam library, even if you have a physical,
right, you can't use it. It's a dead game. Yeah, that game server and everything about that game is dead. Outside of what you have for when it comes down for the Concord would have been covered by end of life requirement. I get that, but here's the problem. Concord is owned by Sony, so are you going to go to Sony and then try to get that IP from them?
Here's the here's how I go through this, and here's how I look at it.
Uh-huh.
Because at the end of the day, and the way the courts will go through this, a game is a software. A
Yeah.
game is a program. Okay? Okay, you can keep the game alive. Are you gonna be able to play it 20 years in the future? Probably not. Not unless you have an old jump box computer from 20 years ago.
Well, yeah.
Okay, I can't play 1995 games that I have on my computer unless I go through some sort of stupid emulation, and
Yeah.
it's janky as fuck.
Okay. Let's take the current. Okay, let's take the current issue that we have with PlayStation, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3 games, the Sega lineup, and all that kind of stuff. You would have to have the original equipment. You have to have a TV that will work for that particular original equipment, or you've got to modify that particular unit in order to have it to be able to play said game.
Yeah.
Are you going to go through the whole process to make sure that that happens? Yeah, I know,
And
Jam. I know everybody got an automatic refund on that one. That's beside the point.
that's the one good thing that Sony's ever done.
Yeah. Now, this was a game that I knew was dead in the water, which I also think they knew that was dead in the water. They just wanted the gaming company, the people behind it, to use it for other purposes. They
Yeah.
wanted to keep it away from Microsoft.
Now, in a day, I'm not disagreeing with this. I believe in game preservation. I believe 100%. And I also believe 100% if you buy a game, if you own the game, you should be able to do whatever you want with that game. I believe
I
that 100%. I retrofit consoles, I modify consoles, I fix consoles, I do all that stuff. I believe in that.
I agree with you to a point.
Point to a point. I
So
know there's limitations in it.
yeah, where's my limitation? Where do you think that limitation is going to hit?
That limitation is going to hit on a couple different fronts. The first front is the IP issue. That's the
To a
first
point.
front.
To,
So, to a point,
to
if you have the game, you can do whatever the fuck you want with it. You can
Correct.
copy as many times as you
You want
want.
with it, yes. It's the same thing like owning a VCR and a VHS. I know, school weird thing to actually be kind of coming up, but I'm a Gen Xer, so go fuck yourselves. Now, if you own said products such as that VHS, that movie, you can actually copy that as many times as you want to. You just have to find a way to do it. If you had an
Until it
actual
gets all
machine,
granulated.
yes. But the problem comes back down to, for me, the point of contention is digital. Digital, we're leasing games. We don't own the game digitally. We lease them. It's in the contract. It's part and parcel in that contract that
It's a
no one ever reads
license. It's a
in that license.
license.
Yes.
And this is one of the inherent issues. And frankly, this is something that this right here is not going to cover. Yes, it says that the one thing you go through and make it to where it's set as such, and yes, I know they gotta be vague and to go through and to do that. But the problem is, there's several interpretations of law that you have to go through that this is not going to do shit with. It's
Mhm.
like saying, let's make all automobiles, say for instance, let's go diesel trucks. Let's all do a petition and go forth and petition the government to make all diesel trucks more reliable and easy to walk on the way they were way back in the day, and let's grandfather it forward. We don't need all these sensors to drive the truck. We don't need all these sensors for the truck to walk. We don't need all this stuff to walk. We can reduce all this stuff down and make it walk. That's all fine and dandy. You can make that petition all day long. You can argue it in the courts all day long. The problem is, you gotta get told to go fuck off because EPA. And same thing's gonna happen here. Yes, we want to preserve games. We want to go forward and make sure games are available for everyone. But you got that little thing of IP. This is not gonna address the IP issue. This is not gonna address intellectual property, what the studios own. They own the service. They own the multiplayer. They own the game. They own the code. They own the systems. That you're not gonna give that. They're not gonna give that up. And
No.
the moment you do, the moment you make it to where the studios no longer own the game, the moment you make it to where they lose control of the IP, you're gonna have another 1983 game crash. Because what's the point of making the game then?
Hell, that's the same thing that's happening with the movie industry. Jesus fucking Christ! If they don't have control over a certain IP, forget it. You're not gonna
This is
you're never gonna
this
see it again because studios are have a hard time as it is trying to produce movies.
Yeah, this is the inherent issue with this. From what I've seen it, in front of it. Now, there's multiple issues. Like I said, we're gonna watch Thor's video and we'll critique his. Well, we're gonna try to critique what he's going to, because there are some issues of what Ford puts out that I think it's good. But he's even said that this is a broader issue. He's even said that we need to go out and there's other issues that need to be addressed that this does not address. He's correct on that one. Let's see. Should an authority have the authority to require any base level of end-of-life requirements? I think packet documentation to aid reverse engineering would not be impactful enough to harm studios.
You can't.
Well, it can.
You're trying to take away the studio's ability to patent whatever type product that they have. For example, those controllers have been patented. Yeah, the patent eventually runs out, but certain people have actually created certain types of controllers. For
You can't
example,
cop.
the Rumble pack in certain PlayStation controllers cannot be copied.
Yep. It comes. Like I said, it comes down to the IP, and like I said, it depends. You can't. This cannot be done as a one size fit all because it just cannot happen that way. There are multiple. This has to go. It's like one person argued with me on Twitter and is like, well, yeah, we'll do it for this one game, but we want it for all the games. Well, guess what? You're gonna have a long fucking war of attrition because that's what you're gonna have to do. That's the problem. See, documentation which bit in a packet indicates what type of sub response does not infringe on IP. Well, here's the deal. What kind of server? I can't just. So some of these games, and
For most games, you can view that information with Wireshark. Yeah,
yeah, you can.
you
You
can.
can. You
You're an
can.
individual. But okay,
And also technically you're infringing on the IP by doing that.
you are. So as the average citizen, the average, manlet or whatever you are supposed to be when it comes down to the gaming world, are you going to be responsible, or do you think the customer? And I have issues with the customer because the customer is an idiot. Are you going to think that the customer is going to completely be able to handle an entire dedicated service all by themselves? That means that they have control. Let's say they have control over the IP. Let's say that they have the ability to bring out a server, but that's money. Do you think that they have the time and effort to maintain those servers, to maintain that IP going forward? Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Right there, garbage. You said it. Thank you. So you want the average idiot to maintain and control an IP, servers, and all that kind of stuff. Do
Yeah.
you really expect that to happen?
Oh, and let's not even get into games that have really implemented like
Yes,
loot
Logitech did
boxes.
sue. Yeah, I know. But
Yeah.
Max also kind of mentioned that Logitech did sue Sony. Yes,
Yeah. No.
I mean
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Let's look at like games that implement loot boxes
yeah.
or transactional stuff like that. It's like, okay, well, how do you get around that? Do you reprogram the game? Do you get rid of that? Well, that was part of the experience of the game. Would that
Correct.
break anything? See, you're going through and you have to actually reprogram and remake the game as it is. Which, guess what? We can do right now as it is.
I mean, realistically, on okay, now think about this. Gaming, when it comes down to gaming, the amount of people that actually play video games is actually significantly small. It's really small. you're looking at roughly about, let's say, 4 billion players. Out of that 4 billion, a little over half of that is mobile players, mobile gaming. They play on a fucking phone.
Well,
So you the gamer, only make up maybe a billion.
well, let's look at it like this too. Let's look at Pokemon Go.
Yes,
Okay,
that is a mobile game.
yeah, Pokemon Go is a mobile game. It's a game, and it's a server-based game, and it's a mobile game. Now,
Yep.
here's the unique thing about Pokemon Go. It utilizes several features within the phone and sub itself for the Pokemon Company and things that you utilize from Apple. Like it gets into and uses API for Google Maps and several other things, stuff like that. So say Pokemon finally pulls plug on Pokemon Go. Okay. Even if the Pokemon Company, even if they want to put all the information out there, even if they are able to do all this stuff, you think Apple's got to allow them to do it?
Someone rolled out a Pokemon Mongo private server 8 years ago. By the way, you got a okay.
DNS redirect to connect to it.
Yeah.
So you got to have Wi-Fi access.
Yeah, apparently so. Yeah. So
So I
again,
can't go out in the middle of nowhere with just a cell tower to catch a Pokemon.
correct. Unless you have your what is it, your Wi-Fi that has attached to your Wi-Fi, like your service provider's Wi-Fi. You're using your service provider's Wi-Fi to go around. So you've got to make sure that you have a lot of gigs, unlimited. Not many
And
people. Not again. Not many people
and
have that capability.
and not only that, let's put into this too. We're trusting a random individual who made a server with information that they could probably scale off the phone and steal
Oh fuck
something.
yeah.
Go
Yeah,
right
for
ahead. I ain't
for
trusting
for
that.
for 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 a digital game that we only have control over the license to, that we've been licensed to play that game. See, if you bought the game physically, I'd agree with you, 100%. It's your game. You bought it physically. You do you, boo. But when you're purchasing a license, a digital fucking game, a license to play that game, because that's what digital gaming is, a license to play. You have to oblige by their terms of service, their contract. So when they say no mas, you're done. So unless you're changing the digital license, which I don't think anybody is going to, because that I wish you the best of luck, because you've got Microsoft, you got Sony, you've got Nintendo. Those are the three biggest players in this field.
Yeah. And let's say, okay, this is not retroactive. This is not grandfathered in. It's from every game made from now forward. Okay, so we're just gonna come out of nowhere and tell the studios, okay, you can't make the games that you made the same way. Probably doesn't, because let's face it like this. Okay, let's look at games like Fallout and Elder Scrolls and stuff like that. They
Bethesda
use
based games. Why
yeah.
do you have to bring the most damaged
Star. Hey, guess what? Star Citizen. Guess what? It all uses the same base
Starfield. Starfield.
Starfield,
That's
not
don't
Star Citizen.
don't don't don't
Starfield.
don't disperse
Okay,
Star
Star
Citizen.
something. Star something. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Starfield. Starfield.
Starfield. They all use the same base setup. They use the same bare bones that all these other games use. They recycle the stuff over and over again because guess what? It's easier to skin over a skeleton than it's to build a new system ground up.
The only two games, well, actually the only major one game, which is Starfield, it's built a little differently, and it's kind of built into pocket plays. So you have like pockets of so it's a stitched game of all these different cubes that you can generate.
Yeah.
That's the game. That is entirely the game itself. So you when you get to a planet or you go to wherever you need to get to, you land on said spot or you get into that said field. It's that little area, that piece of land, that cube that you stuck on. It's generated, and then you move to the next portion of it. The game has to stop, process that next set of random shenanigans that's going to happen if there is anything that's going to happen because it'd be just empty plot of land for all we know, but it's got to generate it, and you can't go back and forth as ease like the Elder Scroll, which is one map solid.
Yeah,
These are multiple maps that stitch together.
yeah. And not only that, not only that. Like I said, going forward on this, you're telling game developers that now they must all use this standard to make their games.
Yeah, but game developers are the worst breed going forward because a lot of them currently, a lot of them are fucking woke, and the
Yeah,
good ones left.
yeah.
Sorry, but
So
the consumer's
it's
idiots.
like
This is my place of issue.
I
Consumer.
can I can see the argument of how this could be helpful, but again, my issue I see with this is I can see some fuckery going around with this
Now,
and
see,
implementing some
all
new
I can,
shit.
I'm a chaos daemon for a reason. All right, all I can see is the amount of fire that's gonna happen, and everybody bitching about, oh my god, what happened to gaming? And all I'm gonna do is turn around and point to the consumer and kind of go, they did this.
Yeah, because everyone's bitching now because oh my god, these games with microtransactions, we don't like them. Well, you harbor that behavior by buying the game.
Yes, you allow whales to actually dictate that, and guess what? Whales are consumers. Oh, but it's okay for the whale, so as long as it doesn't affect my game. Well, I
It
don't mind
affects your
I
game.
don't mind I don't mind the cosmetic look, so as long as and so that went into the loot boxes. So yeah, I'm sorry.
This is why this is why I don't play a lot of games because of the fuckery some of these studios and some of the things have. I don't play multiplayer games.
no, I don't. I look, if there's a co-op feature, I might play it, and I usually play it with Gemax, but most of the time I play solo-based games that I can actually physically own.
It's like 7 Days to Die is different because 7 Days to Die, you can play solo and then you can play it together in a team and you can have your own server. Guess what? That's the way the game was made and stuff like that.
Media, yeah. And
And
guess what? You can actually purchase that game.
now here's the main issue with that whole deal too, especially when it comes down to you can't play 7 Days to Die competitive.
No.
It's not secure enough.
Yeah,
Guess what?
that's the other
Guess
issue. You
guess
brought that one
that's
up, the competitiveness.
yeah
Fuck.
that's that security is another issue too because when you got games like Epic, Epic games and stuff like that,
Yes.
league games, there's a level of security in that even even if all the code was put out, you got to have a dedicated team. You got to have the power. And all this stuff costs. Who bears that cost? It's easy enough to say, oh well, these players want to play this game. Say you get 10,000 people want to play the game. Okay. Say Apex Legends just goes under,
Mhm.
and they go, sorry, we're done. It's no longer profitable for us. But here's everything you need to run the game. Here's how you set up a server. Here's this. Here's this. Here's this. Here's this. Okay, fine. What do you gotta do with it?
Yeah.
And even if you do something with it, even if you do get it set up, how long is it gotta last for? Even then, can you ensure security? Are you going to take the responsibility in case somebody gets in there because all the source code's out there?
Yep.
Say the 10,000 people want to play that game gets on that plane. You got one little fucker like Destroyer 2009.
No, better yet, we have Chinese hackers in that, or
Yeah,
South Korean, whatever, Korean hackers as well, who actually go in to these games and bring in bots with them, just do whatever they normally do. So, are you going to go through the process to do administrative to make sure those people are gone? Are we going to be? Are we looking at hiring people now because now there's money going into this now?
yeah.
You,
So
you,
now,
you see
so
where this goes
so
into.
so, and how you got to maintain that cost? Okay, well, let's have it like, you got to pay like $20 a month for each player, and that would cover the cost for everything. Okay, again, let's say someone named like Destroyer 2009 comes in. I said all the source code's out there, unless they implement something new. But even then, it's like they're implementing something new. Probably not the studio or anything like that. They're probably trying to skim corners, stuff like that. It doesn't take that much again to sell everyone's fucking credit card data.
Very
You
much
got
so.
who's got to take that responsibility?
Yeah.
This is a bad idea all the way around.
I mean, right now, all that goes right on to the IP holder. All of those headaches go to the IP holder, which is one of the big threes. And if there's an issue, you can go to one of the big threes, and there's a system that's all into place that we. I guess so. So now you've got to create this system. Now you've got to create all these things, and you got to deal with consumers.
Yeah. So I understand the principle of preserving games and all that good stuff. And I understand the principle of, okay, let's make it where games can be played and stuff like that. It's unrealistic.
Again, it's only realistic on hard physical copy based games. The moment
it's realistic on single player games.
Very much so. Very much so. And again, physical copy based single player games. There should there be any baseline end of life plan requirement? No.
That's all it is. Well, I mean,
there is already look. There's already a base plan already into play for single player oriented games. And again, you know what? You
actually
go ahead.
I got one better. Every game, even physical media, has a baseline end of life.
Yeah.
You can only put that game in so many times before the contact pads wear out and the cartridge is useless. There's only so many times electricity can run through those chips before the fucking chips fry out. There's only so many power cycles you can put on that console before it goes out. Can you repair it? Yes, you can repair it. But everything already has an end of life. There's no way to make something forever. It is unrealistic. And when you're talking about games, like I said, there's games out there right now that you can still play. You don't have the ability to play. This is the Model T concept I put up to somebody on Twitter. Yes, I can go out and buy a Model T right now for a lot of fucking money. I ain't gotta be able to build one.
No.
But it's like Model T is not sold anymore.
No.
Even if I buy a Model T, guess what? I can't go to the parts store and buy parts for it. And guess what? Even if I figure out a way to custom machine and mill parts and stuff like that, and I make a original Model T as it was, it's still illegal for me to drive it on the road without some other modifications to it. Especially
Correct.
if I'm building it from scratch.
Yeah.
So I still can't drive it. There is a end of life. It's like planned obsolescence is bullshit. And I will say that right now. Making something planned to fail is always bullshit. But the same is true for trying to make something last forever. You're not going to have something last forever. And you're going to have to deal with the fact that games are not going to last forever. Same goes for console games and stuff like that. Yeah, you're going to have some diehard players. You're going to have some collectors. You're going to have people like that out there have those games. Is everyone going to have access to them?
Mm-hmm.
No.
That comes back down to. So you have to make sure that your players have that digital copy if we're talking about a digital game. So they have to make sure that their digital copy isn't any form of corruption. That's the big thing. Corruption is an end of life.
Yeah, this is the same argument of, oh, well, you own two houses, but you don't live in one. You should own that second house because someone else can live in it. It's that
sell
argument.
the second house.
This is a woke bullshit argument.
It is. Anyways, are we going to go into the Thor stuff?
All right, well, I got to go into the Thor stuff. Let's go ahead and get into what he had to say.
Hi, My name is Jason Thor Hall, also known
Hi,
as
Thor.
Pirate Software Online. I've been in the gaming industry for about 20 years. I used to work at Blizzard Entertainment, then Amazon Game Studios, and now I own my own studio, Pirate Software, by the same name, which is an indie studio, and I've been here for about 8 years now. I also run a massive community. We've got about 180,000 people in Discord, and most of what I do is try to teach other people how to make games, teach them that they can make games, show them the tools to do so, and try to do everything without any paywalls or bullshit in the way. It's incredibly important to me that we keep making games and that the next generation has the tools to do so their medium doesn't die out. And it never will. And that's the whole intention of all of this. So with that in mind, that community brought me this and tried to get me to sign it. And I don't want to. Number one, I can't because I don't live in Europe. But number two, I wouldn't sign it even if I could. And I'm going to kind of go through this and try to explain the reasoning as to why that would be the case. Okay. Without all of the internet hate machine that's grown up around it. So let's go into how this works and why this is an issue to me. First things first, what is an initiative? So an initiative is actually not law. It is something that you put together so you can put it up in front of representatives and they can start the conversation. The reason why I have a problem with Stop Killing Games is specifically it starts the wrong conversation. If we're trying to kill off the practice of developers putting together a live service game, pitching it as a single player experience, and then taking away support in the future, this ain't it. And the reason why is specifically on this initiative, under its own description, it says, this initiative calls to require publishers that sell or license video games to consumers in the European Union or related features and assets sold for video games they operate to leave said video games in a functional playable state. Specifically, the initiative seeks to prevent the remote disabling of video games by the publishers before providing reasonable means to continue functioning of said video games without the involvement from the side of the publisher. This isn't always possible in all video games, and it doesn't call out the specific practice that this is supposedly trying to defeat. It is incredibly vague and will damage all live service games. How would you keep League of Legends in a functional playable state? You'd have to re-architect the entire game. The game is what is called client-server. So in client-server models, there's a server and there's a client, and all of the math, all of the game, everything happens on the server. The client just displays it. And the reason we want to do it that way is so that you can't teleport around and do 1 billion damage. You don't trust the client. You trust the server. The client just displays what it's told, right? So if we want...
That right there is when it comes into security, what I was talking about.
Again, it's pretty logical when it comes down to it. I mean, I'm not in the gaming sphere. Like, I don't develop games, whatnot. I understand some of the practice. Hey, I'm a consumer. I'm a gamer. Show me a game that I'm interested in. I might purchase it. I'm a crafty consumer. It took me years to get to this. Took me years. Trust me. I was one of those types that just purchase whatever. But now I no longer do that because I learned that that's a bad idea, especially when we got into digital. But yeah, games that like League of Legends is you have to go to the actual server. You have to join into same like WoW. You have to join into that server. You don't even though you've downloaded a bit of the game itself. A lot of that is just connections.
Yeah.
So,
well, you have all that, and I'm trying to look this up right now. Ross Scott is the person. So
I still say he needs to be drowned in a bathtub.
All right. So Ross Scott from Accused Forums is the one trying to bring this up. Now let's look into Ross Scott's forte. Okay. Is the owner of Accused Forums and the creator of Freeman's Mind and Freeman's Mind 2, in which he himself voices Hell Life protagonist Gordon Freeman, and several protections, in which his voice Mike, as well as voicing Doom Guy in the one-off special Doom Guy's Mind episode 7. He is the honorary member of the Master Mindset. All right. Anyways. He has a collaborative. He has collaborated with on 4 record occasions featuring Robin Darnell, Ian Riley of Sapphires Mind and Body Minds, respectively, in his own series and perspective, Meeting of the Minds. First episode, meeting Mind the Gap. He currently resides with his wife. In 2003, Ross began the Stop Killing Games campaign to change legislation so the publisher will lose his abilities to permanently deactivate the games. Um, this guy's only made 2 games.
Mm-hmm. Ross is a comedy YouTuber and retrospective maker. His background is purely in games. Okay. Okay, so if he understands the entertainment aspect of things, I'm just saying, if he understands it, then he would truly understand the situation that we're having here. If he doesn't understand entertainment in general, then he should not be your guy to go to. Because the guy to go to, unfortunately, and this particular field is the man that has 20 plus years of experience and knows everything about how the games are built. I'm back. What did I miss? Not much. We just kind of covered Ross. We did a little bit of the pirate games, Thor's speech. He just
All right, no, time out.
he pretty
I get
much
this. No, I get this. I get this now. Okay, no, I'm calling this bullshit out. All right. So one of the stuff he's made, Civil Protection. Series created by Walt Scott, creator of Freeman's Mind. It follows prior to the events of Half-Life. This is a modified game of Half-Life 2.
yeah, that's what I thought. It's the modder.
This guy's not a game developer. He mods already existing games. I can see the exact reason why he wants this shit out there.
Thor is a nepo baby who doesn't want to do extra work. Are you sure about that?
Yeah, no. I gotta call bullshit on that one. This guy's a fucking Maple baby. He can't even make his own games. He's got to modify games.
And
you got this, and then you got this guy out there. Oh, well, we want the source code. You remember? I think you said it. Oh, we want the source code. We want. I wonder why.
You want the source code for what? I mean, realistically, are we talking about modders here? Because modders already have access to a lot of the different games themselves. Most of the actual single-player based games already download all that information right into it, so you can actually make those changes. You keep saying he's an entertainer. If he's a fucking entertainer, then he
has no reason.
He is pretty much as far away from the gaming sphere as possible. Unfortunately, the guy over there with the glasses, the long hair, and the funny, stupid T-shirt, that guy over there that's on that screen there, that is the guy you have to look towards.
And you may not like him, and that's fine. You may not like him. A lot of people don't like me too. But I get respect and the authority of the job I do and walking on trucks because people come to me.
Hang on. Are you garbage going to have somebody tell you? Since you're in sound, right? If I remember correctly, you're into sound. Do you deal with that kind of industry? You know, audio, that kind of shit. Am I correct or am I completely wrong?
You got. Let's not even go down that line.
No, hang on.
Reasoning.
Healthcare. Okay. Healthcare service administration. Okay. So you're going to have somebody come to you to tell you how to do your job.
Here's the issue I have, especially now finding out that what he's made have been modded games. Okay? This Stop Destroying Video Games is a novel concept on the surface. Underlying could be used for a lot of fuckery. Since the guy who's bringing it, really pushing it, is a guy who modifies games to make his own, from those 3 that we've seen, I don't see the best intentions here.
Well, I was going to go into
and he doesn't understand the server client. He doesn't understand the server. He doesn't understand.
Again, I was going to go into because it's healthcare. We got payments to make. If you certain places in the global world, for example, if you're in the continental United States, you have to pay monies up front in order to get certain service to be done. Where in Canada, you just have to wait a certain amount of time in order to get to have that done, and you pay a little
Preferably
bit of
after you're
money.
dead.
Yeah, but again, different systems. So you in healthcare, you've got to deal with somebody's, hit that like button. Yeah, I know. Thank you. You've got
Look,
to
Divinity.
you've got to deal with somebody's process payments and that, and they refuse to do that, but they want to make sure that you give them end to the life services. So yeah. Thank you. See, there you go. I mean, you're
Uh, Garbage. Here's the thing. Give, require. Two
yeah.
different things.
Yes, do you want them to be required or outright give you? Because you have to be careful of the wordings here. The wording, because the law and wording is very specific. This is why I kind of say the word. You have to be careful what words you use.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
woke people like to use proper nouns and change fucking things around and fuck up the English system. But
now here's the thing. It's like I trust Thor on this subject because of what it's dealing with. I don't agree with a lot of his takes at times.
I don't agree with a lot of things that he usually, kind of goes over, unless it's something very,
But he's usually very dynamic whenever he goes for it and tries to explain something. And it's
yeah.
all in wording. Especially if you listen to his conversation he has with people about contracts and working for game companies and learning that the game companies will fuck you over as a dev and you must get it in writing and make sure it doesn't have no fuckery in it. So,
Actually, that's pretty much it for any contracted worker.
yeah.
No,
So I can see why he's skeptical of this, and I can see what's coming off on it, and I can see for the fact of who's pulling out what they done and what they're asking for.
yeah, but we're
I
having a
don't
different.
see I don't see the best of intentions.
But again, we're having a different conversation. This is only going to affect the EU.
Yeah, it's only gonna affect the EU, and we can talk about that in a bit. Let's go ahead and get back into this.
Anyways, please,
And
yes.
Wanted to re-architect this, we'd have to take all of that server logic, push it back out into the client, and somehow make that playable in a multiplayer-only video game. That doesn't make sense to me. So this isn't going to work for all games. Why is it calling out all games? And it's really easy to say like, oh, that'll get worked out down the line. But we're dealing with government here. If we're going to be putting up these types of ideas specifically in front of government, we need to be calling out the right issues, especially if you don't have precedent set. Because now you're going to be setting precedent on something that doesn't make any sense.
this is another one of my deals. If you're gonna make an argument like this, make sure you have a good foundation.
Yeah, but we also have to remember you're talking to old biddies that are considered boomers by most people who have
If you
no
don't have,
understanding on what a game is.
yeah,
They're still saying games are violent,
yeah.
and they want to ban all video games.
Yeah, you want to go to a country that wants to ban you. You're going to a country.
You're going
EU.
to a collective of countries.
You're going to a collective of countries. That one of the main ones, UK. That the princess of UK tried going at the Canadian government for South Park because they didn't like what they were saying about them.
Yeah, that was kind
No,
of funny.
thank you.
That was kind of funny. No,
No, thank you.
Yeah, I know. But no, excluding them. Going back to the greatest country in the world, the Netherlands. They made a game that no one played called Dustborn. Governmentally controlled, governmentally produced, governmentally funded. Taxpayers paid for that game. Did you pay that? Did you play that game? Their AI garbage, Dustborn. Because if you did, then you're part of the problem. If you didn't, you're still part of the problem. Because it's taxpayers' money went out on that kind of game for that propaganda.
Well, only if you lived that in.
Regardless, taxpayer money.
Only if you
I watched the video. See, there you go. There you go. Harmful opinion, if I remember, is within.
Oh
or
my God!
No longer.
Harmful opinion. Jesus Christ.
I don't mind harmful opinion. So So woke, I haven't. Yeah, I know.
I
So
have I have my issues with Harmful Opinions. He's good, but he's really hard on the fucking paint.
yeah, I mean,
Chill, him, Chill Logic, and a couple other they're really fucking hard on the paint.
I have.
And
Look,
I hate to say
I
it.
have issues with Yellow Flash, and he's pretty much knee deep in that pain.
Yeah,
But regardless,
I have issues with a lot of people, especially in commentary and stuff like that.
the
And
commentary
I
groups.
you gotta watch some of them, especially like Harmful Opinions. Chair Lodge is not really bad about it. He just speaks his mind and stuff like that, but really has like off the wall takes. But
Sometimes.
you gotta watch most of the people in commentary because here's the thing. Here's what this whole fucking stop stop killing video games reminds me of. What was that stupid fucking movement that Mama Max did on YouTube a couple years ago?
Oh, it was something about the pedos thing. I
Yeah,
can't remember, but it was either you or it was YouTube. It was kind of that YouTube initiative. I think it was
us,
called
us,
you or us.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, us, something like that. This reminds me of that,
Hmm.
which was nothing more than a grifting scheme to try to collect money or try to collect
No,
something that
it
they
was an
can
artsy
use.
project that he wanted to put himself further up in lights than what he is. Look, I get it that we as United States and Canada helped with that as well, but regardless of the factor, I did say it didn't matter. It's taxpayer money, period.
And what happened with it? Oh, guess what? Kind of another ad apocalypse. What happened again with it?
Yeah. So,
That's
yeah.
what this
Anyways,
reminds me of.
let's continue with the Thor thing, please.
With people that may not understand the nuance of our industry, all in the name of saving games. I can't agree with that. So let's go into why this is happening, right? So why did this start in the first place? What is the specific cases they've called out that are egregious? And they have one. It's The Crew. So action on The Crew. The video game The Crew, published by Ubisoft, was recently destroyed for all players and had a player base of at least 12 million people. Due to the game's size and France's strong consumer protection laws, this represents one of the best.
Now,
France.
a 10-year-old game. No, time out. I'm gonna name one thing now. A 10-year-old game. Player base of no. It probably had 12 million copies sold. It probably had a couple
Actually,
thousand
talking about
people
copies,
playing it.
actually is pretty decent in the gaming world.
In 10 years sold, yeah, it's pretty decent. But what I'm talking about is like concurrent players. That's kind of a misleading fact right there.
The Crew had an offline mode hiding in the config files that Brick was engaged. Look, that's in the code. That's who. I comes back down to this. This is something that's baked into the digital copy.
Yeah.
Actually, it gets worse. It's also in this case, it was baked into the physical copy, and no one saw it.
And guess what? Easy anti-cheat does shit like that.
Yeah.
That's
So if you have anti-cheat baked into that, it's got a kill switch.
It's got a phone home feature.
Yes.
So, and
And if it can't phone home, it can't play.
And that's not even made by the developers.
No.
Some developers are forced to do that.
Yeah, it's actually baked into that cake because of rules and that has been put out there to try to reduce the amount of. Also, didn't The Crew also have a multiplayer feature, if I remember correctly?
Yeah, I believe it was an online playing game. So
yeah, so it would come with a kill switch.
yeah. And again, it's like let's just go on.
Oh wait, hold up! Isn't that also an
Best opportunities
Ubisoft
to hold a
game?
publisher.
No, pause. Isn't it also an Ubisoft game?
Yes, it is.
Oh wait! What is the setting for Ubisoft? You'll own nothing and be happy about it.
Yeah.
It works offline single now. That's great. Congrats. But again, that's what it was meant to be. Single player games have at it, brah. But if there's a multiplayer feature, sorry.
It's like Halo.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, no, this is Ubisoft. So
and I get it. It's like you're not gonna have online services, and for multiplayer, there's going to be in life,
Mhm.
regardless or not. There's going to be in life in multiplayer games. Single player games, I'll agree. And it's like, yeah, this is bullshit. This is bullshit. But like Thor said, it's attacking the wrong things.
Yeah. Go for the single player. Win on
It,
that
it's
one.
a it's attacking the wrong things, going for a cookie cutter approach, and you can't do that.
Anyways, continuing.
One of the best opportunities to hold a publisher accountable for this action. If we're successful in charges being pressed against Ubisoft, this can have a ripple effect on the video games industry to prevent publishers from destroying
No, it
more
won't.
games. First off, I don't like the idea in this that it has a player base of 12 million people. That is not how long-running games work. There is a large number of people that buy the game, and that player base slowly dwindles off until nobody is playing it anymore.
There we
If
go.
there's any costs associated with keeping the game online, which this was an online video game, then eventually it costs more to keep it online than it does to keep running it, right? So the cost outweighs the amount of income for it. There are bad business practices that can occur in there. There are companies that will sell a online only game as a single player experience and kind of just put it into the TOS and hide it. But not all companies do that. When they do, we should be calling out that specific company, not all
Agreed.
companies. So let's take a look at this and find out more about the crew itself. If we pull up their Wikipedia, we can see that the crew was actually created in 2014, which, much to the hatred of all of us oldies on the internet, was 10 years ago. Oh. So this was an online-only racing video game developed by Ubisoft Ivory Tower and Ubisoft Reflections and published by Ubisoft. So all Ubisoft, right? With that in mind, it said it was a scaled-down recreation of the contiguous United States and included both role-playing and large-scale multiplayer elements. So it had a massive multiplayer component to it. It is an online-only service-based game, and they shut it down 10 years later. On March 31st, 2024, Ubisoft shut down the game's servers, rendering the game unplayable, which is normal for live service games. The only thing that I can see in here that could be a problem is if they post it as not an online-only experience. But everything that I found online shows that the game was always marketed as online only. If you're going to be buying an online-only game, that means it can only run when it's online. And if the servers need to shut down in the future, far in the future, it makes sense to me for the access to that game to be cut if it's online only. If it's a single player experience that has online only functionality specifically just to shut down the game in the future, and the online only doesn't actually add any gameplay functionality, I'd agree with you. That's a shitty business practice, but that's really rare. And in the specific cases where it does happen, we should call out that, not just all games and not all live service games. Further, there's more context to this too. The Crew itself came out in 2014, but it actually had a sequel that came out in 2018. And then it had another sequel that came out in 2023. And if we go to the Crew's SteamDB, which again is not going to be all of the player base for this, it's only going to show the ones who were playing it through Steam. It was on multiple platforms. And we look at the max here, it did start out with a sizable amount of community, and then it degraded. And it had a major drop-off in 2018, which is the same year that it launched a sequel. This is normal. When a sequel comes out, a lot of the player base, if the sequel doesn't suck, will move over to it. And then the servers effectively die.
So you're playing a online game, and this is why I understand. And I made this argument too on Twitter about it costs more to cool the servers than it does keeping it online and running to allow people to play the game that you're probably not getting money from.
Yeah, but again, it comes back down to this was an online featured game with the attachment of a single player game. So ultimately, this is a live service based game. You're done, bro,
Now,
on that
if
one.
if they being able to sing, if they shut it all, if the game had the ability to have a single player mode on the computer and stuff like that, then yeah, bring it back. And it sounds like that they did.
Yeah, but okay, the problem I have is if the game is an online game with the attached idea of single player. This is where gaming comes. So
Wording.
it's very big right there. It's an online game. If it was a single player game with online options, I would say yes, go for that because it's single. It was designed to be a single only game that had online features slapped onto it later, like say like a Halo game. All right.
Yeah.
But if it was designed specifically to be an online service based game or an online purity game, and they attached a single player game to it, you're fucked. you either a have to strip away that online feature and then redo it just for that single player game and sell it just as that, or have that available for the player base. But if they wanted to play it with friends in that, there is no servers, none.
I'll give you an example. There's a game that I played a long ass time ago. I really want to play again, but it's an online only game, and it's called Star Wars Galaxies.
Yeah, yeah,
I've talked to you about that one.
yes,
Now,
yes.
I like that game. I never really got a chance to play it because I remember I was a little kid when I played it, and it was over at my sister's house in far away for Christmas, and I played that game for about 4 or 5 hours on the computer, and I loved it. And
Uh-huh.
they allowed me to borrow the game. Actually, they gave me the game for Christmas the next year, and I went to go play it. Well, problem was I didn't have a fast enough internet connection, and I didn't have a credit card,
Uh-huh.
so I couldn't play the game. So I had a game that I couldn't play. And by the time it came around, well, I had access to a credit card and I had access to faster internet. The service went down, so I can't play the game.
Well, I mean,
Now
there are.
I can walk around it,
Yeah.
but that's too much trouble and bullshit for me. I don't want to do that.
No, I know, but there's also There's also servers that fans have done to be
Yeah,
able to.
I know
But
that.
again, that is still questionable because
That
you have
is
to be careful what server you go to.
yeah, and that's the thing. One, I don't trust it. Two, that's too much walk around bullshit for me to do. And three, just to get the game to play on my computer, I've got a lot of shit I gotta do fucking on the computer because it's not meant or designed to run on a newer machine. It's meant and designed to work on an older machine.
Yeah, it
So
is.
it's not worth it. Could I? Yes, I can. Yes, there's leads, and yes, I get it. But that game's never coming back, and that game's dead.
Yeah,
End of
it's pretty
story.
basically it. Yeah, I know. There's a
So
bunch of mega nerds that got together. Hey, mega nerds like Thor.
yeah. Now, would it
The
be cool
nepo
they brought?
baby that doesn't want to do extra work,
Yeah. Now,
according to certain people.
would it be cool they brought it back or did it something else like that?
Mm,
You know, make a 2024 version of Star Wars Galaxies new and improved and stuff like that. Yes, it probably would be cool. But you got other games like Homeworld or
mhm.
is it Homeworld and
Well, I
Elite
mean,
Dangerous.
well,
You got Elite Dangerous.
well, and you also have other games that have uh that was it was Sin. There's that's around. There's the Star Wars basically it's like a 4X games that are
Yeah.
kicking out. Oh,
And and for
X3,
Homeworld,
X4. That's another one
yeah.
that has really good mods that go with it.
Homeworld, yeah, Homeworld I can run locally on the computer. I don't believe I have to be online and stuff like that
No,
to
you don't.
run it.
No.
And I can go through. I can reskin the entire. It's actually easier for me to go through a mod and reskin Homeworld than it is to get Star Wars Galaxies
You could
to
get that. Yeah,
back
no,
up and
you
walk.
could have the same kind of features with X4, which is another good one, which is similar to Homeworld. You could do a lot of reskinning,
Yeah,
but again, it comes back down to reskin, update the graphics, whatever. That is
but
what you could do for a single player based game
yeah,
that
but
has online features.
yeah. End of the day, it comes down to it like this: like who bears this cost?
Yeah, no,
Who
GOG
bears who?
is
Yeah.
GOG is the best. Oh, there you go. You mentioned GOG. What's the difference between GOG and somebody like Ubisoft? Where's the big difference? Really think on this one.
One
Go
cares
ahead.
about the customers, the other one
No,
doesn't.
no, 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 no. Outside of that, what's the really big difference between a GOG based game and an Ubisoft based game?
No microtransactions.
No, outside of that, DRM.
There you go.
GOG is a DRM free game.
You don't
They
have
make
to
sure
fuck
that all of
around
their games are DRM free. Poland versus France? No, DRMs. DRM. DRM. Nice try though. Nice try.
Yeah.
DRM. That's the biggest difference. You go to Ubisoft, forget it. It's their game. DRM. You've got to do with whatever they dictate. You go
I'll
to
tell you,
GOG. You own the license.
I'm gonna tell you right now. because I know it's gonna happen sometime in the future. Hopefully, she's dead before it happens. But I know for a fact, Elite Dangerous is not gonna stick around forever.
No.
And they have a good as long as the game and that, unfortunately it's like I told somebody on Twitter. It's like these games, these game companies are not running a charity.
No, they're
They
trying to
are
make money.
running a business. They are in it to make money. If they're not making money, they're cutting loose and they're moving on to something else to make money. That's what they're in for.
Yeah.
And everyone can say, "Oh, capitalism bad, all this, all that, and stuff like that." All you want, but at the end of the day, money is what makes this world goes round.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I'm not making any money on YouTube, but I do it because I want to talk about something. It gives me the ability to talk, and I get to talk to you. I get to talk to friends, stuff like that. So it's fun for me.
Yeah, but
But
this is a beautiful thing with the degree of the ability of a certain level of freedom of speech. We can actually kind of argue certain points, especially a petition like this, which is
yeah,
bad idea.
bad idea, very bad idea. But end of the day, it comes down to it. If the crew was probably averaging a couple thousand, couple hundred thousand. Well, let's just say 10. Let's give it 10,000. Let's say
But
they
by
were
the time
averaging like
by the time we got to the end of its life, it was barely getting 1,000. Let's be real.
107 concurrent.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, if they had more numbers and they put like ads or something like within the game, stuff like that, and they can make a little money from it.
Yeah.
If they can make more money, if it's worthwhile for them to keep the servers open and allow people to
Who
play it.
is who is the company that's doing ads in their games now? Oh, EA. EA
EA.
has ads in your games. So while the game is playing, it
What are you talking
stops
about?
it gives you an ad break.
I remember fucking there was some sort of fucking game. Well, fuck, you get that in Grand Theft Auto.
Yep.
You got place ads in that game. All those fucking companies put ads in that game.
Yeah.
And they got Rockstar Studios got kickbacks from not only people playing the game and other things like that, but also from ad companies because we got a Coca-Cola sponsor in there too.
Okay, I understand I like that idea. Problem is
They
you
don't care.
have to remember, what did the president of Ubisoft say? You will own nothing and be happy about it. You don't own their games.
And this is where it comes down to a consumer issue. People still buy the games.
Me
You want to send a
personally,
message. You want to send a message to Ubisoft?
stop
Don't
buying Ubisoft related games. Stop playing them.
make them change.
Yeah.
Make them change. And and I think Force says all the time too, and we've said all the time too, and everyone says all the time. Vote with your fucking wallet.
I say that. I've been saying that for a while.
You've been saying that since 2014.
Gamergate's pretty much kind of enforced it, infused it into the brain, into the frontal lobe. You, the consumer, you have one great power that the publishers do not have. Every publisher out there, whether it be
Wallet.
entertainment, gaming, books, whatever, you have something that they want, money. They have something that you want, a product. If you don't like their product, stop buying it from them. Period. End of line. Then they'll be forced to either nut up or shut down.
Yep. And we've seen that it does work. Look at Concord.
Fuck yes.
It works.
No one bought
want-
the. Here's the beautiful thing with Concord. The beautiful thing. There wasn't an outrageous fan base to say, "Oh, this game is shit. Don't buy this." Blah blah blah. There wasn't a lot of outspoken people that did that. It was a quiet majority that said, "I'm not interested,"
And they pulled it.
and they bought a game from China based on a monkey. I have issues with that, but that's a completely different tangent. But between the two games, which got more money? Which is still around?
Yeah. It's dollars and cents, and that's all it amounts to, especially in gaming. I hate to say it, but that's what it comes down to. You're not gonna get a game without some sort of investment being put into it.
Yes.
And if the game company
I know,
is
Jeb.
doing
Sorry, I like Jeb. Soon it'll be softened out on itself. Yes, I know.
yeah, but
I'm waiting for that day. It'd be beautiful.
same here. But it comes down like this: like if the game company is treating you like shit, if the game company is implementing piss poor fucking policies in the game, if the game company is doing shit like this, don't buy from them. It's that
Ever.
simple.
Just stop. Just stop.
And if they're doing something like what Helldivers did, file class action. Now here's the deal, and this is why I said all these issues that this petition calls for. And I don't care where it's at, because let's say they want to go out to a United States company. Let's say the company is in the United States and they make a game, and they want to implement what they want into they already can. Putting up something in the EU is not going to change anything over here in the United States. Certainly fucking not in Japan or anywhere else, like especially Korea and stuff like that. They got to tell them to go fucking eat a dick, and they will take a cut in the profits and not sell to the EU.
Correct.
And that's all that this would probably achieve is, well, they just
you'll have certain producers, certain game companies that will stop producing games for the EU. So that market is going to dry up. Look what happened to Helldivers.
Yeah.
Most of the place. Look, they cut out 160 countries, and no one batted an eye for. Oh, we just don't like the factor that.
No. Everyone batted an eye. Everyone had a fucking outrage from it. But as soon as the developer came out.
No, dude. They had an outrage that you. Based off if you had to sign into Sony in order to play the game, they didn't care about the 160. All they cared about was the factor that they had to sign into a Sony, server in order to play the fucking game.
Yeah, that also. But let's get into this. Was there a class action filed because of fuckery? No. Are they still doing the fuckery to this day? Yes. Are those 106 countries still?
160.
Yeah, 160 still. Countries still can't play the game. No, they can't. Do you still have do you still have a login option?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So
Guess
Sony
what?
didn't change anything. They said they were going to think about it. They thought long and hard and said, "No, we're not stopping." And guess what happened?
People
a lot of you fuckers still kept playing that fucking game until you said no mas. And now on the computer side of things, it's dead.
You want to know what else? 4 hasn't picked up the game since. Because 4 even said it. Yeah, they said it, but until it's implemented, don't believe it.
Well, again, I was fighting for those 160 people, regardless of the factor. Well, I didn't care about having. I have a Sony login. I have a Sony account because I was inundated with Sony for the longest time, all the way up until PlayStation 4, and I stopped. PlayStation 5 don't give a rat's ass because it's the same thing, just with a few upgrades. I'm good.
Yeah.
So I'm not spending another like $700 for Canada. It's $1,000. If I'm going to spend $1,000, I'm going to put that money on a PC.
Yeah, and guess what? What Helldivers did can result in a class action lawsuit. Guess what? There are laws about this.
Yeah.
People in the EU and different countries, guess what? You can file across seas. You can file in the United States and use United States rules.
Yeah, the funny thing is a lot within that 160, some of them were in the EU. Some were in the European Union.
Yeah, what was that?
And where is the class action lawsuit? Oh, right. It died. So did Helldivers. Because no one's talking about it anymore.
So, and this kind of goes down to my main contention, and hopefully afterwards we'll return to playing. Here's my main contention in this whole deal. We're wanting to petition the EU Parliament to put more rules in place to make it to where game companies can't do this. Even though there are rules in place that make it to where game companies can't do this, nobody does anything to implement those rules to actually enforce them. Nobody fucking does it. So, riddle me this. If they did go through and implement some sort of rule, are they going to enforce it? Given standing as what's going on to right now, I think not.
I
All
agree.
Payne's got to do is got to put more fucking policies in place and make it harder for game development companies to make a game or put some sort, lose IP and stuff like that. And that's all this seems like. This seems like an IP grab to me. That's the only thing this whole thing looks like to me is a fucking IP grab.
At the moment, yes. Anyways, continue.
You can't run a live service game on this few players. You can't. Most of the time, especially not if there's
7?
anything else that goes
Yeah,
into
it's
it. And if we
7?
go into that anything
Yeah.
else, and we could see that there was license problems. So on December 14th, 2023, Ubisoft delisted The Crew and its expansions from digital platforms, suspended sales of microtransactions, and announced that the game's servers would shut down on March 31st. So they gave them 3 months. Usually I would say, hey, 6 months is probably a better deal, but if they're going to do 3 months, they're going to do 3 months. The only thing that I'd be interested outside of that is if there was a contractual obligation to do more than 3 months and they didn't follow it, if it was in the terms of service or not. Citing upcoming server infrastructure and licensing constraints. What were those licensing constraints? Well, it turns out that all of the cars in the game were licensed from the car companies. And a 10-year running game likely means that they had license to them for 10 years. And that means that it would likely reopen for negotiation. Now, I understand that's speculation, but I've seen this type of a deal many times in the industry while I've been working in it. So it's not...
More, actually, it has happened. Again, Rockstar Studios, Grand Theft Auto.
Mm-hmm.
They had license for a lot of the cars within the game.
Yeah, the original, the originals for a while before they had to get rid of the title of the car and give it a new title.
Yeah.
It wasn't a fire, but it was a fire something, or
Yeah.
Something on that basis. It looked like one, but it had a different name.
Yeah. So, again, it goes down further and then, oh, give me game. I want game forever. There's more things that revolve around it that people just don't understand. There's a lot of gears and working cogs within the whole deal.
Yeah. Okay. Let's say the Crew did get its continuation privately. Let's say that way. What if one of those car companies, say Lamborghini, decided to go, you know what? You can keep your game, but you have to take the car, our car brand out of that game.
Well, they're editing the game then. You changed my game. You took the titties out of my game. You took
Pretty
the
much,
Lamborghini out of my game. It's again.
That's his one brand. I'm not going to go with all the others, but that's his one brand. So continue. Sorry.
Yeah. Again, I just want to reemphasize this. Tells me that nobody watched this video or cared. They're looking at, oh, say my video game. It says it's a good thing. Say my video game. 4 bad because 4 is against saving my video game. Well, there's a lot of inner workings within that whole deal. And if you want to disregard that, you're a fucking retard.
Not unlikely. If you're going to have to renegotiate on a game that has so few players and is not turning a profit anymore, you're probably just going to forego the renegotiation. And if those servers are aging, you're not going to want to recreate that infrastructure. And there are some people that'll say, well, just make it all single player. Well, I've explained that doesn't make any sense in the first place. If you're making it all single player, you'd have to carve off all of that, and it's developer time and money. When you already have sequels out and the game has basically no players left anyway, it makes more sense to just move on.
And also, if it has single player, they have an AI in it. And if the AI in it, was it any good? Or was it just, you could just race around the track single player to practice, and then you can go in there and play against other people? And that's the case. You really can't expect a company to come back in on a 2014 game to re-implement the game to put AI in it so you can have other cars race with you. So I don't know if that's the case or not, but...
Well, again, I will agree to the other team for a few different things. I'm going to disagree with Thor on this one. You don't have to, as a developer, have to do that. You've already done your job. All right. All you have to do is release all that information to the consumers and let the Uber nerds figure that shit out. But the problem comes back down to that's their issue going forward on how they're going to get the servers to run for this game, how they're going to work around the actual licensing of that game for all of those vehicles. Are they going to go through the process and reestablish new titles for these cars?
All
Because
right.
that's been the biggest thing.
Well, here's the thing. All right, it's like some server side assets can be IP, like an MMO. If you scrap and redistribute all the NPC text, that's all stuff the company wrote. That's usually the biggest basis for the servers take down after. Well, here's the problem too with this too. It's like this is for game preservation. Well, if you have to edit the game to preserve the game, you're really
You're
not
not
preserving the
preserving it
game
then.
then. You're not preserving it. And that's
See,
what game preservation doesn't take into fact. Because they don't take into fact that these companies have to also license some of the stuff out that you see within the game. For, like models or
well,
drinks
no,
or
no.
players or
This
names
is
or something like
this.
that.
Yeah, but this is where the game's preservers forget. You're not preserving just an aspect of the game. It's the totality of that game.
Yeah, you're defending the purpose what people can do right now without having to fucking do this, bypassing. Oh well, all this legalese stuff and all this stuff that all these these companies have to follow tooth and nail for them, or they'll get sued by other companies and stuff like. Oh, we're just gonna put that to the side and not worry about it. We're gonna preserve our game.
Uh,
It's retarded to go at this vague like this.
yeah, some systems can be licensed and unable to, yeah, be redistributed. Plugs they bought and use their own server site, etc. Yes, correct. See, this is where everything gets kind of hinky. If you said again, if we were talking about single player based games, I'm 100% on your side. But because we're talking about mobile or massive multiplayer based games, multi service, co op based games, now I have issues. Now we're coming into a different problem because now we got licensing. Now we've got to make sure that we have servers and all that kind of stuff, and we got to have reliability, and we got to make sure that we have that honest kind of. Are we going to a server that's not going to try to scrape our data and sell it off to somebody else?
Yeah,
So
because there are bad
those
actors
are
out there.
security concerns,
Yeah, there are bad actors out there. You can't trust
as well
everything.
as
You can't trust everything you see on the internet.
oh yeah, I know, as well
Funny enough,
as
that's what Thor says all the time.
how are they going to prevent cheaters from getting access to that server?
Well, not only that, how you gonna have actual league contests? Like I said, we're gonna go back down with league. Okay. Let's say they just shut down, servers shut down, and okay, you can have all this stuff. Are they going to? I can see ways on how they can do it, but that's a lot of time and infrastructure and stuff like that to put into it. Would they do it? Most likely, probably they could. Would it be effective? Probably not. Is it going to be the same as the original game? No. So, I mean, there's ways you can do it, yeah. There's ways you can do it without having to implement this. Again, everything comes right down to everything that this little stop killing video games stuff puts out there, you can do right now. The only difference is they want the data. They want the juice code.
Hmm. They they,
I
they
wonder
they they
why.
they want your data just as much as
I
every other
wonder.
company out
I
there.
wonder why the author of this deal wants the juice code for the servers in the games whenever they're known for modifying games or putting out the games like that.
Hmm.
I wonder why.
But wait. They're an online comedian, so I don't know.
Maybe it's a joke. Who knows? All
Anyways.
right, let's continue on.
I don't find that to be a problem from the developer perspective, and I understand that people find that to be a problem from the player perspective. These are two different ideologies, and that's okay to have two different ideologies. I just won't agree with it because I understand the burden that puts if we raise that problem in the way that we are right now. If you try to tell me that every studio needs to run their live service game indefinitely or not run one at all, then no one's going to run them. And we're going to miss out on adventures like Final Fantasy XIV. And even though I don't play anymore, League of Legends or any other live service game, any of them. You're talking everything, like even phone games, as funny as that is. A lot of people don't realize that phone games require online only activity.
Okay, hang on. Ross comes at it from the angle of I can't explore these worlds. I can't view zones with music and sound and NPC interaction. And probably cynically, I can't make game dungeon videos on them. And it's like, and
Look, there are a lot of games that are dead. There are a lot of games that are dead.
I can't distance. Hey, you know what? I can't travel the galaxy far, far away to look for Chewbacca. You know, probably needle digging Yoda in the forest of fucking Endor somewhere. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm robbed of that fucking experience. That's FOMO.
Can I go back to the original Overwatch and play that game?
No, I don't think so.
Because I know Overwatch 2 exists and I don't care about that. But the original Overwatch, can we go back to it and play that game the way how it was? No, it's dead. But I don't see many people arguing that point. It's because of this one, and again, they only brought out this one feature, this one game, the crew.
Hang on. Just provide some context. Ross isn't being intellectually dishonest. So,
I
you know
don't
what?
know. I
You know what? Time out. You know what? You can say the same thing about Zoe Quinn and Nita Sarkeesian. Yeah,
every,
this
actually,
some
Sweet
sexism
you
in
can say
games.
that exactly the same thing about Sweet Baby Inc.
Yeah, you can't believe everything. And I have some issues with what he's done. I have some issues with what he's asking for. And I have some issues on how he's going about it. I don't trust this. Just because it doesn't sound like he's being intellectually dishonest. And actually, in fact, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Let's just say he is genuinely on this whole deal 110% and he has nothing but best fucking intentions. Let's say that. Again, he doesn't know how it works. He doesn't know everything that's involved with it. He's put out a shit foundation for argument that really just looks like an IP grab. Calling it as I see it.
And he's providing one game as a major source, the crew from Ubisoft. Out of all places, Ubisoft. No.
If he actually had a list, say a comparative list of 20 games that would do all this, fine. We'll probably give it a little bit more credence. But we're looking at one game that you can actually go back on and look at the player history on. And before it got shut down, there's only 7 people fucking playing it.
7 fucking people.
Yeah. I wonder why it got shut down.
And he was probably one of them. Hell, can we talk about those people that played Concord? That still want to play Concord? That they have no access to Concord whatsoever, even if they have the physical copy whatsoever? This is a game that's supposed to be this is an online service game. This is the reason why I have issues with online service anything.
This seems like the same argument of I have a PlayStation and I have Legends of Dragoon. But the laser reader on the PlayStation is not working and wanting to bitch at Sony because they're not going to warranty their product that they made.
For life.
For life. That seems like this kind of argument to me. It's like, no. Alright.
There's going to be some poor fool who bought keys through a third party stuck. Yeah. Actually, no. Yeah. Actually, no, because even through a third party, they can actually get a refund. It is a challenge, but some will still be stuck with it because they don't know how to go through the steps. This is the problem. This is why consumers have to be extra careful.
Yep.
You, the consumer,
you got to read. You got to know what you're getting. And unfortunately, unfortunately, the way it goes right now, any kind of game you buy online, you've got to go through and read the EULA.
Yeah, you the consumer need to be 100% sure going forward that this is going to be the game for you, and instead of just randomly clicking the button to get to the start screen to play this motherfucking game, you gotta read that contract because it's a license. It isn't an actual physical own. It's a license. You're basically renting the game. You're leasing it.
Yeah. So you gotta understand what you're buying. You know, if you go down to the farmer's market and you get sold a goose because the guy told you that this goose lays golden eggs, and you take it home and 7 days later and it doesn't lay golden eggs, and you go back to the farmer's market and the farmer's gone, that's on you.
Okay, Jack, let's hit the button.
What about things like Pokemon Go? What about stuff like Monster Hunter Now? What about any of these? We'd never get any of them. And that's why I think this needs to not be vague. It needs to be specific about the business practice it's trying to defeat, which is specifically companies that are doing this under the guise of it being a single player game, but adding online only functionality that is not necessary and does.
Now, I got told, I don't remember who told me this, but I got told that Thor said this does not need to go in, this does not need to be argued, and this is like, don't talk about this. I don't hear him saying that. I hear him say, be specific about the actual issues you want to go at.
That's so far. We'll probably have to see again. We'll go a little bit further to see if that actually
doesn't add any gameplay elements. That's the problem. So now we're going to go to Ross, otherwise known as Accursed Farms, the creator of this initiative, and one of the ones that's pushing it the most online. I'm going to let him say exactly why he thinks that this will go through very easily and why it is important, and then I'm going to tell you why I don't agree with it.
Comes law in the EU? Yeah, it might be. Now, it's not a guarantee, but I think if we get the signatures, this passes. Why do I say that? Well, it's a few factors. Politicians like easy wins, and this doesn't require them to do much at all. And unless it involves...
I'm going to say right now, just listen to that. This guy is a super mega fucking retard.
Politicians like easy win?
This guy makes fucking Destiny look like Einstein.
Have they seen anything from the UK or Australian or fuck any of the Commonwealth type politicians? They love to fight shit.
Yeah.
And add in a lot more, bullshit on top of that.
They also like to take the citizens getting stabbed and murdered in the streets by illegal immigrants and throwing them in fucking prison going,
yes.
Hey, you can't say anything bad about them.
Yeah, I know, right? Fuck.
Easy wins.
Yeah, okay. What's the next thing that he's got on his roster?
Gambling or protecting children, politicians generally don't care about video games. So this isn't a big consequence to them or most of their constituencies.
I'm going to stop it there for a moment.
Ross later regretted parts of this slide, apologized, and made some edit in the interview going forward. It doesn't matter.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's like, I'm sorry. I let the mask slip for a little bit.
It doesn't matter. He already set the loud part out, the quiet part out.
So. That is being intellectually dishonest right now. Garbage. When you say one thing and take it back later, oh well, it was a mistake. Trying to make a statement like this.
Hold up. Isn't that like the whole Donald Trump kind of fiasco? He said the quiet part out loud. Said the same thing that happened with Joe Biden. The quiet part was said out loud. Every fucking politician that decides to do this, they always kind of give the what was it? The gaffe. The little gaffe here or there. That's a gaffe.
Yeah.
So okay, yeah, I'm gonna give him the kudos that he saw where his errors are and he decided to recorrect the record. Problem is it's a gaffe, yeah. See, there you go. That he fucked up. Problem is this is out here to be used against him. Period. Politicians like easy win. No. They like to fight and put in, filibusters and shit.
Oh, especially in the fucking EU. Jesus Christ.
They don't care about video games. No fucking shit because they're fucking boomers. They're literal boomers.
Yeah, and here's another reason why that he's a fucking retard, okay? Guess who else didn't care about video games? The commission that put into effect the video game rating system back in 1994, arguing this makes kids want to kill people.
Remember, to them, video games still produces violence. If you shoot a digital gun that's equivalent of mass murdering people in real life, you still want these people to have control over your video game.
Oh,
Hey.
wait. I remember who else made an argument similar to that. Yeah. In Grand Theft Auto, it's sexist because you can go to a locker and get this dildo and beat this stripper to death with it. Who said that?
That is not Grand Theft Auto, but I know what you're trying to say. That's Saints Row.
Saints Row. Who made that scene?
Jesus fuck. How about the, oh well
Anita
beyond that.
Sarkeesian.
I know, but beyond that, what about that other chick that said you could digitally rape somebody in the game in Grand Theft Auto? Actually, literally, that's where that portion got. She was digitally raped, so she wants people to be arrested for digitally accosting her in the video game.
This is the most fucking bullshit.
These are the people that you want to have control over your game and how your game is being produced. And whether it has a end to it or not. Okay. You do you, boo. You do you. Continue.
I really want to get Jim's take on this. Stop killing video games. I really want to get his take on it. All right.
The assertion that politicians just like easy wins, so this legislation will go through, but the politicians don't care about a multi-billion-dollar global industry and that it doesn't matter to their constituencies is incredibly absurd to me. I don't think this is the right direction at all for a movement like this. I think it's incredibly damaging and it makes our entire industry look bad, both on the player side and the developer side. If we're going to be putting forward anything that may eventually...
All right, you want to go?
Well, he's wrong on that one. Like I said before, me or Jim. No. Jim, as in not Jim.
Metokur!
Mr.
Metokur! There you go.
I yeah, please use that. No, Thor is wrong on this one to a degree. Yeah, this I'll agree with him that it needs to be worded carefully, but politicians involving anything is a bad call, period. End of line.
Yeah.
The least amount of politics in any of our space, the happier I am.
The quickest way that you can make anything more complicated, put a politician in it.
Fuck yes. You want to make it worse? Bring a fucking politician to it. You're gonna get a shit cake. Oh god.
You really want to make change? Vote with your wallet.
Please do. Fuck me. Just buy GOG-based games. Politicians are morons. Yes, correct. Thank you, Captain. You're right on that one.
And the EU is no exception.
Oh, fuck me. Jesus Christ.
All right, let's go.
Eventually turn into legislation. It should be passing because it's the right thing to do for consumers and developers, and that there's some kind of a middle ground, not just because it's an easy win and politicians don't care. This sets us off on a completely wrong foot.
EU law is already unclear on a lot of this practice anyway.
And that's dangerous. If we're going to be setting precedent, which could change the way that law works all the way down the road, then we need to be sending the right message, which this is sending a vague message that doesn't cover the actual problem. So this is not a win to
I got
me.
one. I got one better. Let's not have this conversation with them involved. Yeah. Problem solved. You want a result? You want a proper, quick resolution going forward? Stop buying games from places like Steam, Ubisoft, EA, Sony, Microsoft. I know it's a weird concept, but hear me out. Start purchasing games from one company, though they're owned by Epic, but still one company that practices in something called DRM-free games. They're called good old games. Start buying from them. Maybe the gaming industry will see that this company, GOG, is making bank with DRM-free games, and there's no problems. That means that they're going to change their tune because their pocketbook is getting bigger from a weird idea. DRM-free games? Holy shit. what an impressive noodle scratcher that is.
Yeah.
Don't bring in politics into my video games. Please don't.
Yeah. All right, let's continue.
Sorry, continue.
This is a huge risk.
And we would be making it easy for them to settle it. It falls in line with other consumer practices. You know how when you buy something, you're generally allowed to keep it?
In the
No.
case of live service games, in the terms of service for those, you are not buying the game. You're buying a license to the game. And that's
Yes.
the part that's really different here. If we don't like the idea of live service games as a whole, I get it. Don't play live service games then. Don't agree to those terms. But if we're under this weird idea that we need to get rid of all live service games or damage that practice in any way to keep in line with consumer policies, it is in line with consumer policies. If it wasn't, it wouldn't be there in the first place. So this
Correct.
doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. You're not buying the game, you're buying a license to the game. In the niche cases where a studio is trying to sell a game as if you are buying it or purchasing it or using that language specifically and they give you a live service game instead, I agree that should change. That language should change. You are not purchasing the game. You are not buying the game. You are paying to have a license to a live service experience. I get that. Is that what this is doing though? The initiative is not trying to call that out specifically. It's trying to say that all games need to stay in a functional, playable state, which is not calling out the language that is being used to manipulate the player. Call that out specifically, not this vague bullshit.
And finally, this is a diversion from really serious topics that politicians would prefer not to deal with.
That's really gross to me as well. The idea that this is just a diversion from serious topics and they can get an easy win in and we can just push it through and there won't be a lot of pushback on it and they're not going to have to think about it too hard. That's crazy dangerous, dude. If you're going to be setting precedent, if you're going to be putting forward something that you want to start a conversation to eventually become legislation, and these are the reasons for it, not only can I not agree with the initiative, but I can't agree with you. And I think that the tactics that you're using here are really disgusting. So yes, I won't agree with that. And I won't agree with Ross. There's no way around that. I think this is gross. To sum it all up, no, I will not be supporting the initiative Stop Killing Games. You're not going to change my mind on it because I find this language to be incredibly vague and damaging to the rest of our industry. I think that it will be bad for both developers and players down the line in the way that it is currently written. And I think that starting a conversation that doesn't get to the core of the issue is both wasted time and leads to potentially bad outcomes. So if we want to talk about this, let's talk about the actual bad business practices. In the case that a studio is making a live service game and they sell it to you as a product, they say that you are purchasing the game or you are buying the game, when in reality you're actually purchasing or buying a license to that game. I think that we should be fighting about that. That needs to go away. A player should be well informed at the point of purchase that they are purchasing a license, not buying a game. And the reason that we have those licenses in the case of client-server interactions, like we had before, we're talking about client-server games, is so that they can ban you when you cheat at them. They revoke your license. That's why they revoke your license, to protect the gameplay of every other player that you're impacting when you cheat at these games. That needs to exist, but it needs to be better informed to the player at time of purchase. So I agree on that. This doesn't bring that up though. It just attacks all video games that have online-only components and says that they need to keep being able to be played.
This is the same language as all games are sexist, or all games are racist, or all games are homophobic. It's the same fucking playbook. It's stupid.
I mean, basically, I think we're at the end of this portion of it. I would assume, correct?
We've got more.
I know, but does he have
let
any?
it play. Yeah, I believe so. Let's play.
Okay.
Indefinitely. That doesn't make any sense to me. Aside from that, a lot of people really like live service games as they exist now. So trying to kill off all live service games, as some people have said online, doesn't make any sense either. Live service games are a great way to get away from the real world. They are about social interaction between players. Some people get married in them. Some people met their spouse in them and then got married in them. It's a really cool thing for a point in time in which you're having that social experience. And to destroy that just because you don't like them is very weird. I don't think that makes a lot of sense to me. I also don't think it makes sense the way that Ross is posing this is why it's going to pass. I think that's incredibly inflammatory and could lead to a lot of damage to both what he's trying to stop and to games as a whole. To say that the government just doesn't care and this is an easy win and we're going to get it through is disingenuous. You're talking about a multi-billion-dollar global industry. To think that the government isn't going to be meticulously looking through this and looking for flaws and holes is absurd. So I don't think that's honest at all, and I find it disgusting. So for everyone who's mad about that, fine. Be angry about it. I'm not going to change my stance on that because I can't agree with this, both as a dev and a player. I see the danger involved. I see the vagueness in the language, and it doesn't make sense to me. If we want to fight for better conditions for players, then fight the actual problem. Don't make new.
Yep. There's that, and then we got part 2.
Oh God.
Hi,
Okay.
my name is Jason Thor Hall, also known as Pirate Suffer, and the other day I put out a video called Stop Killing Games, saying why I would not support the initiative. Overall, it was actually quite positive. The analytics on it show that people really think it's a good idea. There's a huge amount of like ratio, and I received hundreds of comments from developers thanking me for putting it out because they can't speak publicly while they're at a business or a job elsewhere. A lot of the times, major companies will fire you if you are speaking out of turn and cause a PR disaster for those companies. And since this is such a popular thing among players, most devs aren't going to say anything to you. So I am. So let's discuss the most common requirement of the initiative, which is games have to be left in a functional, playable state. Now, what happens if that game is a online-only live service game? Well, if you want that to stay in a functional, playable state, that means the devs have to release either server binaries or somehow carve off the game to be a single-player experience now. Some way to keep it functional and playable, right? Now, many of you are requesting, yes, I should get the server binaries so that I can go and make private servers for this. But that doesn't make a lot of sense in the real world. And the reason why is because it leaves developers open to abuse. So let's explore that a little bit. Let's say that you made your own video game and you made a live service game. Maybe it's an MMO, maybe it's something else, right? And let's say that I want to monetize that game, but you don't allow monetization of the game by any other party. This makes sense because most creators don't allow for that. You can't just take someone else's art and profit off of it. Normal, right? So then I go, well, how am I going to force you to do this? Under this initiative, you would have to release the server binaries or keep the game in a functional, playable state at end of life. So I hit you with a ton of bots. I hit you with a ton of exploits. I attack your community. I destroy your Reddit. I go after your business. I go everywhere that I possibly can to make this cost as much as it possibly can for you. And it's not hard to do this. We saw the exact same thing happen in TF2 recently. The massive amount of bots that were attacking the game. This is not infeasible. This is something that is very easily attainable today. And let's say that this goes on long enough that your game dies because you can't afford it anymore and your studio has to shut down. At end of life, you now have to release those server binaries to keep the game in a functional, playable state. At which point I take those, I create a private server, and I monetize it. And some people have said, well, simply don't allow monetization of the server. Well, who's going to enforce that? If you want a government initiative to enforce that, that means the government has to build a registry of all of those games and all of that intellectual property that shouldn't be monetized, and then somehow enforce that with no one owning it because those studios have shut down. That's going to be a massive problem.
Big problem. Okay, so what's the major producer of products that has gone over everybody's IP? Everybody's what is it? What is it? China. China's the biggest producer of products, and they pretty much take everything and make a knockoff. For
Yep.
what? Money. For their country. Oh wait, they also made a game that everybody seems to like, and it's all based on a certain IP that you can't really use, but only they can. And if you start using that IP, they will literally shut you down.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I know. We can make knockoffs on it, call it like Son Goku or whatever anime-based character, but chances of that character being showcased in the homeland of China would be very small.
Mm-hmm.
So do you want that happen? Because what's going to happen is Chinese are going to get access to that, create multiple servers, say they're an English-based server, and then they're going to be getting all of your data. See how this works? It's a pretty quick, slippery slope. And yet, it's just for preservation of certain online games.
Or it allows other people, like I said, this is why I kind of put two and two together. People who modify games to make a new version of the game and then profit off of it.
Well,
Same
yeah,
one
same
asking
deal.
for the same one asking for this initiative.
Well, again,
It's not that hard to put two and two together. Now,
Yeah,
is that what's actually
it's-
happening? No, I don't know.
Look, I'm
but
not
it
gonna
really seems
say
like it.
I'm not gonna completely deny that possibility. It will happen. It's just from whom and how many
Yeah.
times it will happen. And you expect do you expect the United States to fight China over all of the IPs and that were taken and being reproduced over there?
No, I see. I
How's the
see.
EU fighting China on that?
No, I see the United
All those
States
patents
going.
and shit.
Oh, I see the United States taking it, and whatever administration comes in is like, oh, this is hate speech.
Yeah. So we're defending patents and IP. If so,
Oh,
then
you can't play Grand Theft Auto
yeah.
because remember George Floyd. You can't kill black people in the game.
Yeah. So we got fear mongering. We've got think of the children crowd. You've got the vague progressive, ideals that are completely clueless. You've got the fence sitters. You've got the staunch Republicans that are going to defend certain aspect of the game, but really don't want other aspect of the game to happen. You know, yeah, you're fucking over the gaming industry. Please stop. Think about this.
Yeah. All right.
On top
He
of that,
may
if you want to go the other route and say the company has to,
he may have a point that it adds incentives to things that are already happening, but not sure how much.
Oh,
Look
a lot.
at China.
Well, not only that. Look at Nintendo. Look at Nintendo. What they're doing.
Feels
We're
minor.
able to-
No,
Yeah.
look at China. Do you realize that China is number 3? Number 3 in marketing. Number 3. US is number 1.
And usually when it comes to something
Russia
like
is
that,
number 2. China is number 3. Think about this. Who is going to benefit?
we'll put out there that is a hyperbolic. So that is a hyperbolic. So,
Is it though?
but it's possible. I will play middleman on this one and go that can be a bit hyperbolic, but it doesn't discount like all bad actors because it's like who takes care of it. It's like you gotta have transfer of ownership if you have something. It's like be free game. It's not like this guy come in there and go. You go into the fucking kennel. You take the collar off the cage animal and go, be free, prosper, go out, live your life. It's not like that. You're dealing with property. You're dealing with intellectual property. You're dealing with a commodity. That's like saying I can't fucking think of a good analogy for it, but it's like who deals with that?
We
Who
don't have
now takes over that? There's no one
Look,
unless you put someone in place. Who's
We-
that gonna be?
it's going to be a member of the government. The government doesn't
It's gonna be
fucking care.
BlackRock.
We already have issues. Look, BlackRock, Vanguard, China, they do deals with each other. BlackRock and Vanguard own everything. This baffles my brain when people go, "Oh, we can kill wokeness." No.
Yeah.
BlackRock is a $1 trillion operation. It's a hedge fund that owns everything, and China puts money into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the
Wifey.
American McGee Alice. I would love to be able to. I love that series.
Yeah, but it's like how many IPs aren't being used anymore, and the companies don't do anything with them or sell them. Like the American McGee's Alice and stuff
That's
like
a
that.
beautiful. They come out with a slight remake or a graphical touch up, and that's it. And you know how many people bought it? Not enough.
A lot. Yeah,
No, not enough. Not enough to bring back. Not enough to bring back that series.
Well, it's like when Mega Man Legends 3. And it's like, I really want Mega Man Legends 3. It's never gonna happen. I know it's never gonna happen, but I really want the game because I love the Legends series. You know what? It drives me up the wall. It's just like what's his name, said right here. Ron said about, I can't explore these walls. I can't, do this, can't do that. He's like, yeah, I can't complete the story to Mega Man Legends. I don't know the full backstory of it because it hasn't been told. I know vaguenesses of it. I know pinpoints of it. I know certain characters of it. I don't know the full past to that story. I don't know the full lore of that story. I don't know the full ending to that story because they canned it.
Mm.
It sucks. I'll be the first one right now to tell you it sucks. But you know what? That's what happens. That's what happens when the creator, KG Inafune, left Capcom. When KG Inafune left Capcom, Mega Man in total got put on a fucking shelf. You know why? Contractual reasons, license reasons, IP reasons. Is it fair? Fuck no. Is it right? Fuck no. But you know what? That's the law, and that's the systems. And unless we do a major revamp or remodification of how the laws are, and that's not even in the United States, that's Japan. So yeah, nothing's got to get done with that. That's just how it is. You have to understand that there's going to be an end of life to game. There's not going to be a next chapter sometimes. Most of the times. There's always going to be an end of a chapter. It's always going to have to end sometime. Now, you can go back and replay that game. You should be able to go back and replay that game. But yeah, when it comes down to multiplayer online server games, I don't see the feasibility in it. It's too much of a fucking hassle. The only way to get rid of it is to stop making them. But there's people out there that like those games. They're the most popular games. They're the most bought games. They're the most games that, if you have microtransactions and they make money off it. That's not going to go away. It's never going to go away. We're too far into the market as it is for it to change. The only way it's going to change is to make some sort of fucking gaming crash happen. And then start from scratch. And
Actually,
even
here you go. If you want to stop hurting games or stop killing games, go forward on this. Let the market crash, and see if we can rebuild it again.
I mean, and that's a feasible method too. But it's like, can we? Will it?
I mean, the only person, the only gaming company that will not get harmed is Nintendo.
They are the only ones. But yeah, because they keep lock, stock, and hardcore on their IPs.
And their chips and all that stuff. So
yeah,
hell, they're so hard. They're so archaic that the original Nintendo Switch that came out, they ceased producing it. You can still play it if you have the original. They didn't want you to be able to crack it open in order to mod or emulate any games into it. So they made a new version, a light, and then whatever the larger one that they had, that didn't use the same kind of architect as the first one. And now they're making the Switch 2 in hopes that they fixed all the cracking ability bugs that they had in the first one. And whatever, because right now, Switch Lite has not yet been jailbroken. We'll put it that way. Has yet been jailbroken. So they want to make sure that you can't emulate games on their system. Sorry.
It was, and then patched.
I'm saying, it still has not been broken. They want to make sure that you cannot emulate their games, or any other games on their system. You have to purchase their game, period, end of line.
Yeah. Is it right? Well,
it's their system.
That's the way the laws are.
It's their system. I don't play Nintendo games. I'm not a huge fan of Nintendo.
Yeah.
I'm a Sega kid, so
yeah.
Go figure.
And I also see this misconception with people arguing this too online and stuff like that. It's like, well, change the laws. You can't change the laws. Because that causes a catastrophic chain effect that not only affects the fucking gaming industry, it affects everything.
Yeah, and it just opens up the floodgates for
The
one fucking
laws, yeah,
for one country.
the laws you have to change to implement those changes, you cannot isolate to just gaming. It will affect everything ranging from video games to movies to shows to art to basic shit that you fucking buy.
Books, everything, anything that you consume, it changes the rules.
This is what happens when you deal with intellectual property,
Hmm.
digital digital goods.
Yep.
And whenever I say digital goods, I even mean like the physical media cartridges because there's still digital goods on the physical media. It's still a digital good. That's that it's just how it is. There's no changing that. This is not the future of Star Trek where you go, oh well, we got rid of the value of money a long time ago and we live to better ourselves and stuff like that. Well, guess what? In a world like that, you won't be playing video games.
The most imminent possible byproduct would be creative suit, always software license, always on. No, can never have it always on. Are you going to pay a monthly fee to have it on constantly? Because at the end of the day, we're talking about dollars and cents here. Are you
I'll
going
put
to
you like
pay
this.
for it?
I'll put you like this. And I'll showcase this little thing right here. This right here, it's called a voice meter. This is my digital soundboard I use on my computer. I can mix two different audio channels and I can do a bunch of things with the microphone and stuff like that. This is how I control like audio whenever I'm recording on OBS on the system and on Discord and stuff like that. This is free software. This creator only gets paid if you donate to him. It's a free license. It's open software. Nobody profits from it. Now, are there gonna be some people in the community that can make this better, or give them a couple shekels for this software? Yes. Is it sustainable? No. Is it something that you can depend on? No. Is it a good business model? No. Same thing with RVC. I'll use RVC next for that one. RVC is the program I use. I believe even AI garbage uses to make our AI song covers.
Mm-hmm.
That is a group collaborative project. When the main people that are making that program or working on the code for that go away, get bored with it, get tired of it, something breaks on it, are we gonna be able to fix it, use it? Yeah, maybe somebody could. Are they gonna put that out there? They have no responsibility to do that.
Right.
It's unsustainable.
Yeah, because again, we unless there's actual serious money, I'm gonna fall back onto something that Bethesda keeps doing, and every fucking gamer of the right mind kind of has a conniption over it, almost like a mental aneurysm. Paid mods, all right?
Mm-hmm.
It's supposed to be for money for the modders. There is a cut, yes, because you're modding for Bethesda. There is a cut, so you get whatever the percentage is, all right? So, but is that sustainable? Because again, you have all these mods that are out there that are free. So a modder that wishes to get paid, and there's somebody out there providing it the same thing or better for free, what are you going to do? Are you going to pay for the mod, or are you going to get the free version? This comes back down to the same thing for having your game always online. Are you going to make sure
I'm
that
gonna.
you pay for the server, or are you going to get to the one that's free? And if the one that's free you don't know is using some hinky things like backdoor coding or whatnot to get your shit.
Yeah, I'll put you like this. This guy here, Kaon. He's a member of my Discord. I've known him for a couple years. I met him because he is a Mega Man Legends fan. His hobby, his side project, his pet project is trying to break the coding in Mega Man Legends and exploit it and see how the game works. how it functions, how you can modify it, stuff like that. Right now, he's doing a thing we're trying to replace Mega Man with Miku. He is a pretty talented software engineer. He works a job as a software engineer, I believe, too. I believe he lives in Taiwan or someplace like that.
Yeah.
Anyways, he does this for free. He does this for fun. He is the only one that is doing this. No one else is doing it. Mega Man Legends and Legends 2 is a game that is way over 30 years old.
Yeah.
He is the only one. The only one doing this.
So could you imagine that based on, let's say, a niche game, again, a niche game like Concord? There's only one person that's doing it.
Yeah.
Because again, Concord is an online co-op game. It's a 6v6 based game, and as it's coming closer to its end, which is Friday, today, if depending on whereabouts you are in the global world, it's completely shut down. People are having a hard time trying to get people to battle with now. This is where we're at. So unfortunately, games, live servers, all have a point where they just die.
Yep.
It sucks, but that's that's just what you get for a game like Final Fantasy 11 original.
Yep.
I can't play the original game.
No, and I'll put it to you like this: Mega Man Legends does have a diehard community. Does hundreds of thousands of people that are fans of Mega Man Legends. You're not going to be able to buy that game unless you spend some serious moolah for original equipment. Yeah, I'm not talking about you can buy PlayStations all day long cheap, but the game itself, a couple $100. Don't get me started on Misadventures Tron Bond. That's ridiculous. $1,000 for that game almost. But you can get our emulator. And I believe in preserving games. The game is preserved. You can get the stuff on emulator and stuff like that. I don't believe in it. I don't believe that you should be able to get the ROMs from a game online unless you actually own the game as a backup.
Yeah, that's fair. No, okay, garbage. You have access to the physical copy, ergo you have access to pretty much how that game is built. Outside of how it connects to a server. That's about it.
Yeah.
The majority of the game is in the physical copy.
Yeah. And that right there, you can make two arguments for that right there too. Because that import, there will be copyright infringement to distribute the client. You can fight that two different ways. You can go, well, the law's wrong. I should be able to do this, especially if the company doesn't want it. Well, what other IPs or, that other people will want that they feel like they can have access to that other people own? How many of those we're going to let go? Or we're just going to say, oh, just this one. That is a slippery slope. Like, what you just set up here. It's like, you were talking slippery slope, like it might affect other licenses. Everything that you do or try to put forth to change can be a slippery slope. Gun laws, same thing. Copyright, same thing. Copyright is a slippery slope, especially when you got people out there filing stupid fucking DMCAs and taking people to fucking court, because it can go either which way. That's a slippery slope. Ethan Klein versus Matt Haas. Guess what? That was a slippery slope that could have went one of two ways. The way of Ethan Klein winning the way it did, well, fair use.
Yeah.
Fair use prevailed on it, because fair use is a thing in copyright. You can't steal a work outright. That is copyright infringement. Okay? That is copyright infringement. You can't just steal a work outright. But fair use is a thing. Now, let's go the other direction. Let's say that case went differently. Let's say Matt Haas run. Guess what? Commentary channels are dead.
Pretty much.
They're
I mean,
dead. Reaction channels, they're dead.
yeah.
Commentary channels, they're dead. What we're doing right now with Thor, guess what? We'll strike off fucking YouTube.
Yeah.
That is a slippery slope. And that is a slope that nobody sees because when you're navigating this path, it's usually pitch fucking black and you don't know where the fuck you're going.
Well, most people just really are
That
really.
is the dangers with this.
Well, yeah, that. But again, most people are just are frontal focused on a
One problem.
specific
Say
issue.
my video games. That's it.
Yeah, they don't
That's
see the
all.
bigger. Yeah, they never see the bigger picture.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with people having this hate boner and AI tools.
Same thing with AI tools and stuff like that. That is also a slippery slope, and that's a slope that you got to traverse down properly and carefully, which we have been trying to do. I hope everyone else that's tampering with AI that's doing it, but I know some people are not. Now, here's the way it goes too. Everyone that has a reaction to for saying this stuff has not listened to what he has said. He is making legitimate points. He is making real world points. He is making actual fucking points because it expands further than that. Everyone else is focused on the fucking say my fucking video game. That's it. Oh, Force against this. Oh, yeah, he's against. That's it. They have not fucking listened, and they have not taken two of their fucking neurons in the fucking brain, run them together, and go, this can be a really bad idea.
Mm-hmm.
Why are not? Why Good point. Why are they not arguing these specific facts? Oh well, it needs to be. No, it doesn't need to be ready to get in. Actually, the more specific you can get down to it, the better. Because guess what? Politicians like to argue on stuff on specificity. When it's too vague, they don't want to fucking look at it.
Well, what happens is that they start filling in.
Yeah, they start
Blank.
making it for what they want. Oh, I know. The same thing happened in Louis Rossman for Right to Repair up in Iowa and stuff like that. Guess what? The politicians took it. It was vague. Hey, we as farmers want to be able to work on our tractors. Guess how they took that? Oh, well, if we allow farmers to work on their tractors, somehow they could probably get the credit card information stolen. Whatever fucking bullshit argument they used.
Mm-hmm. Again, boomer shit.
Why you have to argue in specificity? Why you have to make a fucking concrete, rebar, reinforced foundation when you make an argument like this? You cannot go at it vague. We want to preserve games. Okay. Well, what's the next step? Well, we only want to preserve certain type of games. Okay. Well, games that, have sexism or racism or other isms in it that we don't like, we don't want in this. They get excluded. Where does that slope end? I can argue this all day long on which ways it can go, just depending on what kind of politician gets in there.
Well, again, if we're just going to focus on the live service-based games, the multiplayer.
Don't go vague.
Yeah. Well, again, are we going to argue for the longevity to the return of Anthem, Marvel's Avengers, Babylon's Fall, The Crucible, Hyperscape? The list goes on. Battlefield 2020 or 2042. It's a dead game.
Yeah. Every argument that I have seen be put forth onto Pirate Software on bad whatever has not been in the fact of actual fucking. Okay, let's look at it like this, because everything that they try to go at, well, guess what? Thor's already covered and talked about and said, yeah, it's vague. Or no, we need to go at this. Or, it's because of these. He's stated that. He's made an argument for it. Ross hasn't.
Right now,
all I've seen Ross seem to do is, give me the IP. Stuff like that.
Yeah, well, give me never gets. But no, right now, as it stands, again, consumers need to, if they're going to go down this road, the consumers are going to go down this road, Ross included. You need to know a bit more about the subject matter than just this one idea.
It's the
Stop killing
same thing.
games. Stop killing games is a great initiative. It's a great idea. It's like don't kill the animals. Same kind of idea. I agree. If we kill all the animals, then what do we got to eat? But again, you have to
It's
be very specific.
it's the same argument as save all artists. AI art bad.
Yeah.
Well, why is it bad? Because it steals from artists. Well, how does it steal from artists?
Well, I don't know, but everything that AI was built on is all the data,
It always comes
every
back down to
artist.
AI bad.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter when you argue the point that it the AI itself is trying to learn everything about this art in a different way, like humans do. Yeah, it's still bad. It's a bad practice. It's a bad idea. We shouldn't have it. Period. End of line.
That's the only arguments I see coming forth from this. All right, let's continue on.
I think. Hang on. I
You going
think I
to-
remember this thing because I think I briefly went through this. This I have gone through this. I have gone through this. Do we really need to go through this?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Well, we can speed them up a little bit.
Thank you.
Going to be a massive burden. On top of that, if you want to go the other route and say the company has to go and control it, well, what if the company's not around anymore? Is that just able to be monetized now? Again, this was obtained through abuse of the original creator. I don't think that's a good route. And this scenario gets even worse if you do allow monetization, because now I can just kill off your company and then monetize the server and no one will ever come after me. Now it's even more of a problem. So allowing monetization of this work is strictly worse. And for those of you out there that say, oh, this couldn't be done right now, I could just destroy your studio and take your stuff anyway. You could, but this allows a route for it to be legal to do so. That's the problem. After putting this out publicly and talking to people about it, this specific scenario on both YouTube and Discord and Reddit and a bunch of other locations, I got a couple of takes back. We're going to start with the most extreme position and kind of go from there. So in the most extreme, people said live service games shouldn't exist at all, and the initiative will kill them off for good, and that's a good thing. Well, you don't get to define what players get to play or not play. You also shouldn't be able to get to define what developers
Correct.
build or don't build. You should not have creative control over the developers, and you should not have control over what is in my Steam library or on my phone. That doesn't make any goddamn sense. Aside from that, the initiative does not purport to kill live service games. It would just make it incredibly difficult to build said games and add a lot of risk to it, which is why I'm bringing all of this up and why I don't support the initiative in the first place. A lot of people don't realize that this will slowly diminish live service games in the market because it's not an incentive for us to build them anymore, which means you get less multiplayer live experiences. That sucks. I like live service games. I enjoy playing things like Final Fantasy XIV. I enjoy going and playing in games in the past, at least, like League of Legends.
Now, I wouldn't
These are games that are
mind
live
if they
service.
died.
They require a live service to run. And
See,
you shouldn't be able to take that
you
away
and
from
I,
people.
we kind
And
of
if that's
agree.
your only
That's
position
the
on this,
problem.
not only are you disingenuous in what the initiative is purporting to try to achieve, but you're also aggressively attacking.
See, I wouldn't mind they died, but I get where he's coming from. That's the thing is you
I-
gotta be able to get what the other person's coming
Yeah,
from.
but again, look, I'm for the consumer. If the consumer wants to buy they want to buy a giant 16-foot purple dildo to shove it in places that you can't imagine. Have at her, boss. But I'm not going to go out of my way to prevent them from getting to get that item. Same thing with this. I'm not a huge fan of live service games. Do I play a lot of them? No. Do I play any of them? Some, but not all. I don't even really like them. The only time that
Don't play them.
the only time I do play them if it's with myself and Gemex or myself and KG with Gemex. That was the only time that we actually got into that kind of level. And again, it was this lowball version of it. Not the Final Fantasy 14. I got away from that shit.
Yeah.
I have a life.
Yeah. So it's like for us, we don't care. But
Yeah.
at the same time, it's like there's other people that do care.
Do and I'm trying to argue
The league
for,
players. There you go. The league
Yeah.
players.
I'm trying to argue for them. What's going to benefit them because this way, stop killing our games, especially for the live service, will kill the live service games,
It's killing games.
which is killing a division of games, which you are literally killing a game genre, which is live service. So if we argue in a different manner, which is basically what he's trying to say here, you probably have a better option. Don't be vague. Be very specific on what those practices are. Loot boxes and being sold a license that says you own the game. In actuality, you don't. The things like that. These are the practices that we should be discouraging. I understand that you want to keep these games alive. Great, but we run into other issues.
How long do you keep grandfather on live support before you cut them off?
Well, yeah. On top of that, you have shit games like Concord that will exist.
Yep. That happens forever.
Correct.
Other players instead of trying to fix something. So the next one is that this is about games preservation and that it needs to happen to preserve these types of games for future generations and for everyone to always have forever. But I would argue that this isn't actually preserving these games. Social games, such as, let's say, Apex Legends, require a number of players to be in the match at the same time so that you can have an experience that is only able to be obtained through lots of players interacting, right? It's a multiplayer game. You need a bunch of people. How many of you have felt negatively when an MMO dies? Or when a live service game dies? Oh, dead game. There's only 5 people online. Why would I play that? So why would you want to preserve a game in that state? That doesn't make any sense to me. You want to take down these live service games, put them up on a private server, and then play it with a couple of people. You're not bringing it back at its height. You're not taking a snapshot of what the game actually is. You're making it limp on in a way that doesn't make any sense. That's not preservation. And for those that may stop there and go, but private server's going to have a lot of players. Look at all the ones for World of Warcraft. Again, we talked about that. It opens up a route for abuse to the developers. So that is not a solution. And the last take that I got from this is, and it's the most reasonable to me, this is an initiative. It's not a law. Why are you upset? Just wait. I'm not going to wait. And the reason I'm not going to wait is because I see the start of this conversation not making sense. It's not including the actual developer side of the conversation. It's not showing the trials and problems that this could arise inside of the gaming industry for people who are actually making the games you play. I don't have any reason to be quiet about that. And many other developers aren't going to be able to speak on this. As I explained before, it's really easy to lose your job if you're working at a major studio and try to speak out of turn on something like this, especially with something people are so passionate about. Doesn't make any sense to stay quiet. And it also doesn't make any sense to wait until it's in a different form when I see that it has so many problems with the language as it is currently written. I should be able to be talking about this. In fact, I should be talking about this. I am a content creator specifically that is a game developer that has worked in this industry for 20 years. This is my wheelhouse. This is what I do. So for those who are calling for me to just be silent and sit in the corner, no. With all of that being said, I do think there's a consumer protection thing that we can fix here. It's just not really what the initiative is about. I think that if you're going to buy a live service game, you shouldn't be told you're buying the game. You shouldn't be told that you're purchasing the game. You should be told explicitly that you are purchasing a license to that game. The reason why is because that license needs to be revoked anytime that you are cheating at the game and damaging the play experience of other players. While this is written in the TOS and the EULA, it's usually not clearly defined at point of sale. Or they throw a giant TOS in front of you and it doesn't really do anything because people skip past it. If at point of sale it says specifically, there's specific language stating that you are either leasing or purchasing a license or anything along those lines, that you're not actually buying the game directly, I think it would go a long way to informing consumers of what they're doing and protect them from some of these business practices that they didn't realize they were engaging in. That makes a lot more sense to me than force all developers to leave the game in a functional, playable state. And that's about it. That's all I really wanted to talk about with this. I hope that's clarified some things for some of you and some of the...
Pretty much.
I'm not
Pretty much what I already, again, pretty much what I kind of already said earlier, which is pretty much what he kind of stated here. So I don't know. I don't see an issue here. I don't see a problem.
We've been saying this shit for like 5 years.
Yeah. I've been on this bandwagon for a little before Gamergate and way after Gamergate. So. And again, I've been around for a bit, off and on the internet. I've been telling people up front, personally, in front of their fucking faces, make sure that you know that you're literally leasing the game. You're not buying the game. When it says, "Oh, I bought this game," you really didn't buy it. Sorry, unless you physically own the copy or you've got something that's DRM free that you can download all of the files. Store them away to bring them back out, to plunk it into a PC, to have them re-upload again to play that game. Yeah, until that actually happens, you don't own that game.
Yeah. That's the sad thing about it.
Yeah, because I can go to my GOG account, download every one of those games, put them off somewhere else onto a hard drive, like, and then just play them, or like transfer them over from one place to another. Until then, yes. How you doing, Toku? Toku Punk? Really? Wow. Okay. I love that.
I don't think I've seen you around before, but hi.
But no, honestly, when it comes back down to it, Thor's right on certain aspects. I disagree with him on the political side of things. The less politicians are involved. Yeah, if we're going to go down that road of trying to make politicians create rules for games. You've just walked yourself
Hello,
open to
1994 again.
yeah, pretty much.
Hello, Games Rating Bureau that wanted to get rid of any kind of violence in games and stuff like that, and they have finally had to have a side
yeah,
initiative to have ratings on it to let people know, which is the most retarded, stupidest thing of all fucking times.
yeah, yeah. E for
Hello again.
everyone.
Hello again. It's 20 years later. We're here back to do it again.
I know. I understand that you guys want to relive the '90s. They weren't that great. It's just people. They weren't that great. Stop it.
But besides from some, tasteful, like politicians, stuff like that, and possibly implementation or just, in general, I think we all agree on the whole thing. It's like, Stop Killing Video Games is a really good initiative. It has a really fucking piss poor foundation right now. Go at the issues at hand. Showcase actual examples. Go through and actually get gaming companies to actually go through and do what they're supposed to, which it's already in consumer guidelines. You can't deceive consumers and stuff like that. If you're selling a game as you're owning the game when it's a license, because it has to be a license, because again, a lot of people don't understand this. Oh, I owned a multiplayer game. I should be able to play this multiplayer game whenever I want. It's like, no, you got a license to play it because you're playing with multiple people. And if you're cheating at the game, and you go for it. This is the difference between license and owning, okay? Especially in a multiplayer game. If you go through, and you can argue this in court, and say you win and stuff like that, and he goes, I own the game. This is my game. Nobody can stop me from playing this game. I'm going to cheat in this game. I'm going to fuck everyone else up in this game. But you know what? That's my goddamn first fucking amendment right. I'm going to play this game into the ground. I'm going to cheat it. I'm going to fuck everyone over on it. Well, we ban you for that. Well, guess what? When you go over the language of, oh, but they own it? Well, you can't steal a game from someone. They bought it.
Yeah.
It's theirs. That's where you come into the fucking legal loophole. And you know what? People will probably look at me stupid going, there's no way in the world that's going to work. There's no way that would happen. There's no way that something that stupid can happen. Guess what?
It does.
It's 2024 and it happens all the goddamn time, especially in the fucking court system. You bet your fucking ass it would happen like that.
I hope the results years down the road is the most minor of baseline end of life. No, sorry. I'm stopping here. Just stopping here. I understand the idea. I get the gimmick, but live service games, baseline of life is based off of the person who provides the service for that game. When it comes down to single player games, I agree with you completely on that one, on this idea. And again, I wish you the best guys of luck going forward, but all I can see is you're going to fuck up the gaming industry by trying to do something like this. You're going to kill live service games in the process, which means that all gaming companies are going to stop making live service games. Yeah, maybe you might get a few indies that might actually do it, but a lot of those indies are going to be Japanese, not Japanese. They're going to be Chinese in origin, because now you've opened up a market for them, and you're going to ride and die on that one, because guess what? They got you, and they got your money, and they got every piece of information going forward. So you go for it. You're why are you guys wanting to do this? You're not helping the situation. Sorry.
This is actually not a slippery slope. You're walking on a tightrope. That's what this is.
Yeah.
I'm all for preserving games and stuff like that. Now, while I agree that there should be an industry standard of here, if I had to rewrite this whole deal, this is how I would rewrite it. I have a petition up for the government to make it to where gaming companies cannot lie to you on what exactly you're purchasing, and they have to be clear on it. Like what Fuller
Yes.
said, be clear on what you're getting. If it's a license to play the game, which they are legally allowed just to sell you a license to play something, because I'm going to tell you right now, you're not going to stop that one. Oh, it's not fair. I have the game, I should be able to play it, but they just sell you a license. That's fair, because you got to tell Windows they can't do that no more. You got to tell Photoshop they can't do that no more. You got to tell all these other fucking companies that they can't do this no more. Be my guest, because once you open up that loophole, it's a thread that will keep on unraveling. It just takes one foot in the door. And you can argue all you want. Oh, well, this is only about video games. No, this is about licenses and IP properties. And guess what? That incorporates everything, not just games.
There's an old saying. Most people don't remember the saying, but some do, some don't. The pathway to hell was paved with good intentions. This is a good intention idea. Don't get me wrong, but this is going to destroy everything in live service aspect of gaming. In single player, I don't see it harming it.
Yeah.
But in live services, MMOs, things like that, this is going to destroy it.
And actually, and you can actually argue there is this distinction in it, anyways. You know, single player and multiplayer. There you go. You have two different categories of games. You know, any kind of multiplayer game can't or shouldn't be incorporated into this. The only way that this, license, yeah. The only way that they can do this is if they actually change, and I don't even know if it's feasibly possible, because, I mean, AI maybe AI, but it comes down to equipment, play, so all this stuff costs fees. It takes money. It takes money to make all this stuff work. A lot of players, a lot of Minecraft players think that when they open up the world map and stuff like that, and they want to play with their friends on a server, it's all right there. It's on the computer screen. It's just easy peasy. They don't understand what it takes. They don't understand that what they're playing on is not on their computer or on their friend's computer. They're playing on a server somewhere that's, incurring costs and stuff like that. Yeah, you can get servers, stuff like that. Now, should multiplayer games be made like that? Yeah. Yeah, I'll agree that multiplayer games should be made like that. You should be able to get a server whatever you like with 7 Days to Die, Minecraft, all those games. Yeah. Is it feasibly possible? Yeah, it's feasibly possible. The type of gameplay, what you're trying to do, and it depends if it's competitive or not. Because again, those games, everything's being executed on your computer, the client, and it's being broadcast through the server host.
I've got a great one. It's an impressive game. It's been around for a while. It's about to get a sequel sometime soon. They're still working on it. It's called Rust. It's coming close to the end of its life. It's an online game. People get on it. There's like millions of people get on this fucker, and they're waiting for the new version of Rust 2. They're anticipating for it. Are they going to go back to the original Rust over time? Because all of that player base is going to go over to a new bunch of servers. There'll be a point in time where you're never going to be able to play Rust again.
Yeah.
Are we going to be forcing Face Punch to keep Rust open until they die and beyond? Because
Well, I
it's
mean,
basically
hell,
what you want.
well, hell, let's put Halo into place.
No. I got a better one. Titan Falls.
Titan Falls. But yeah, and it's like, is it possible? Yes, but it's not feasible for. Here's the problem with those games, and those types of servers. You can mod them. They're easy to mod. That's why you don't really see competitive Minecraft. That's why you don't see competitive 7 Days to Die. That's why you don't see competitive games like that. because it's too easy for fuckery.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a part of game. That's what EA is based on, competitiveness. EA Sports and stuff like that. FIFA,
He
all
is
that other
also
good shit.
repetition as well because they don't bring anything brand fucking new. So let's be
Yeah,
real.
they use the same old shit, just rewashed. But
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying? Leave everything else. The implementation, how it's implemented. You put through, oh, well, it's gotta be on the client, you gotta be able to preserve it and stuff like that. Well, guess what? You're gonna have more Destroyer 2009s. You gotta have more fuckery hacks in the middle of context, stuff like that. You gotta have more people be able to put mods onto
You're
games, stuff
gonna
like
have
that.
more Chinese hackers come and destroy your game just because they want to.
Now, when you're thinking about narrowly, well, I'm just want to play this with my group of friends and stuff like that. You know what? You can still do that right now. It's a pain in the ass, but you can still do it. But feasibly, to have the company make it like that, make it to where people can't fuck with it and then have to unfuck it later so people can fuck with it to be able to play it later on when they're done with it, going on to a new thing. I get right to repair. I get planned obsolescence. It's not planned obsolescence. End of life. So you gotta understand this, and a lot of people have this misconception between planned obsolescence and end of life. Okay, a truck. And I know I'm using trucks and video game references, but a truck has a lifespan. I know for my dealership, and I know for the manufacturer I work for, we don't try to put they don't put planned obsolescence in it. A lot of people are, oh, well, it's planned obsolescence. No, it's the failures, the basic wear failures that happens in all fucking vehicles. It happens. There is a lifespan. You cannot make everything last forever. I'm sorry, grandma cannot live to be 1,999. It cannot be done. There is a lifespan, and once that lifespan's up, it's dead. It's done. Can you remember it? Yes, you can remember it. People confuse end of life for games for planned obsolescence. Well, the developer planned for the obsolescence of this game for something new. It's,
No developer that did Concord planned for it. That's for fucking sure. They weren't planning for a 10-day kind of livelihood for this game. They thought this game was going to last for as long as until they were able to get Concord 2 out there. Sony said, "Fuck no, you're done. Pull the plug. No one's buying this game ever again."
yeah. So I get the good intentions. I just don't think they're right. And I think that there's a lot of things that can be done. I'm not saying that it's a bad idea. It's a good idea going forward. But I have to agree with a lot of Thor's points on this one. You've got to actually attack the issues on it. You can't just go, oh, save all games, cookie cutter. You can't do that. And then to how to force game developers to change how they make games to be able to conform to this standard. Yeah, you're gonna have game developers go, not worth my time, not doing it, or what shit go, sorry you don't get games.
Yeah, pretty much. So at the
So
end of at the end of the day, good idea, bad foundation. It needs to be really focused on the terrible marketing shit that's on the producer side of things, and the consumers need to smarten up. I have issues with the consumers because you fuckers are dumb. Please stop. If you want to preserve a fucking game, make sure it's DRM free. You realize that a live service game, you're purchasing a fucking license. It's in the actual EULA, terms of fucking service. It's right there, black and white. All you have to do is read it. But none of you do. None of you do. Do you sign contracts without reading them? Because if you do, I've got a lot of contracts I'm going to put in front of you.
yeah. I'm doing something real quick, trying to do something. Anyways, let's see. You can run Rust and Titanfall servers binaries. It's those
PUBG, Dota, extra stuff, blah blah blah.
Yeah, 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 and I get it. There's some ways, some games are made where you can do that. Yeah, they designed them like that. There's other games that are not. They're not designed like that.
Well, if I remember
And
correctly, Rust was supposed to be a single player game that was actually converted into a multiplayer game. If I remember if I'm thinking the history, because I know Fortnite was kind of similar.
yeah,
Again,
I think you're right on that one.
I mean, I've been around the Rust community for way too long, and a lot of those players are gunning for the sequel. They're going to be jumping. They're not going to be pining for the original.
Yeah. Now, is it a bad idea to hold game developers to a standard of making games a certain way? No, I don't think it's a bad idea. But if that was the case, I mean, why was anything done a long time ago with like loot boxes or you know, microtransactions?
The hand cannon. Jeez.
Hand cannon.
Jeez.
Now, I mean, could there be something like that in the future? Yes, there could be. Is it going to be implemented? I don't think so.
I honestly hope it doesn't because all it does is just skyrockets the gaming crash even faster. Everybody keeps saying, "Oh, the game crashing is happening. Oh, the game is crashing is happening."
You already have, all right, so you already have regulations right now. It's like, we can't have gory games because, oh my God, think of the people, think of the children.
Think of the children. Would somebody please think of the children?
We can't have edgy games because, oh my God, it's going to offend someone. Oh, we can't have something in a game saying big, was it, hard or, because that's offensive to someone.
Yeah.
That's what these fucking regulations do. You're just
You,
returning it something else.
you're creating a slippery slope. You're starting the foundations for a slippery slope procedure.
Yeah.
And all somebody has to do is kind of go, well, here's where it is. You have control of the board. Here's where the issue is. And guess what? A politician loves these slippery slope things because they can campaign on it.
Yeah.
And who are they going to go to? People who do not understand what gaming is. Again, keep telling you, when it comes down to the gaming market, we only own a very small, minute amount of it.
Yeah. But for the for single player games, 100%, I agree with everything on this because it should be like that anyways. It shouldn't have any of the fuckery and stuff like that. You should be able to, once the end of the game's here, I should be able to pop my Duck Haunted cartridge in and play Duck Hunt. Oh, I don't have a CRT TV, so I can't use the light gun. So
I know, right? And even if you could, will the light gun work?
yeah, so it's like I ain't saying game preservation. I'm all for it. I think single player games should be preserved. I think there's a much deeper discussion that needs to be had with multiplayer games, especially when it comes down to your average Minecraft or 7 Days to Die or PUBG games, stuff like that, compared to like the major heavy hitter games like with over in EA, sports games, league games, Call of Duty, stuff like that. So I think there's a much deeper discussion that needs to be had with that one. It's like with AI and ethics and AI. There's a much deeper you can't just go in and go AI bad. No, we gotta have actual conversation about this because how, why, what is it, what's it doing. There needs to be a discussion about that. Are we gotta get into it? No, because we don't fucking care about multiplayer games. But I agree with the incentive. I think it's a genuine one. I think it's a piss poor implementation of it. I think they need to hammer out the issues before they even attempt to talk to any kind of politician about it. I think they need to have a really good plan in place. They need to lay out all the issues. They need to be well informed on all those issues. They need to know how those issues are implemented within and outside of the game, especially when it comes to licensing IPs and stuff like that. And once they get all that worked out and they get all the I's dotted and T's crossed, then come to the table. Then put this forward to have a discussion about it. And not even really to politicians, just a discussion about it openly and see if you can do something within the market first. And if you can't do anything within the market first, if using your wallet doesn't work or anything like that, then proceed courses on doing stuff that's already implemented within law, which there are things that's implemented in law that can stop all this. Go through and push through those. And if you hit a brick wall with that, then let's come to the table and talk about maybe implementing some policy or some legislation or some change. Only whenever all the fucking options are exhausted off the fucking table. Because right now, nobody has touched any of them.
I mean, also taking consideration that you, again, are a small minority when in this gaming industry conversation. You have to include the developers into this conversation because realistically, if we're looking at just PC and console-based gaming alone for game preservations, just on that, you're looking at maybe at 700 million players. And compared to the mobile users, remember, mobile users, 2.5 billion. So we're arguing for a minority group, literally, to try to preserve games that, especially on the live service ends, eventually die. You just have to accept it. They die.
Yep. So, got
Okay.
anything else you want to add on to this before we end now and redirect you guys to Under the Tea podcast with Mama Uncle and
Oh Jesus fucking Christ, VTubers.
Lumi?
I am good. If there's anybody out there in chat who wishes to add a question or a comment or whatever, here's your opportunity. Because right now, you know where I sit. I think you're fucking consumers and you're fucking idiots. Please think smartly. Sparky over here thinks you have a really good baseline, but again, you're a bunch of idiots. Because again, you're not thinking smartly. So we kind of agree with Thor on this one to a point. We want politics out of fucking video games completely. But again, you doing this brings in more politics. I mean, I wish you the best of thanks. Thank you. Good
Good
thanks.
bands. Well, I'm glad there's no hard feelings. I can't speak for the other two that I was going back and forth up on Twitter. I never saw. I know one of them's been on this channel a couple different times, so I haven't seen them. I don't know if they feel the same way, but it is what it is.
But
I
anywho,
don't. It's like I just want to go down the rabbit hole, see what this is about, and it's like I don't. Everyone that's against this just have not fully sit down and listened to what Thor said. He's not said he's not said, well, don't talk about this. No, he's not talking about. He is not supporting this. He thinks there needs to be discussions on this. He thinks this is the wrong way to go, and there's other ways that this could be done better. He's not been against this. He's for this, but just not in this implementation. Everyone's saying
it's the
other
rings of
ways.
power.
Yeah,
Ooh.
they're making fun of it.
Ooh, I wish you the best of luck. That's cringe all over. But
But yeah,
again, I'm glad you guys appreciate overall. I hope you guys, enjoyed it. If not, fuck you. But like, comment, subscribe, or whatever it is on the bottom there. And I'll give Sparky the reins because it's his show.
All right,
It's his show.
So, in case it doesn't redirect, there's a link in chat. Go say hi to Mama Akko and Lumi for me, and hopefully you don't get too cringed out about what they're talking about.
All I
Later,
can say at
guys.
the end, vote with your fucking wallets, people, and be
And
smart.
don't be consumers.
And good night.
Later.